Okay, guys, we are here today. Another beautiful day. These birds are still chirping in my background. They're still chirping. My apologies. Today we have Kevin Warsh's first outside of FOMC comments. So the first post FOMC comments, the first comments on potentially the economy, inflation, rates, and more happen at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today. It's a big event. A lot of markets are going to be watching it and in turn reacting to it. So yeah, let's see what happens today at 9 o'clock. We also have ADP job numbers going live at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. So we get ADP jobs numbers at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time today. That will be relevant. I believe we have ISM data as well. Nike reported earnings last night and it did not do well. And we got a lot of other stuff to talk about here. So let's pull this up. One thing, look at gold. Gold's running up a little bit today. So we do have gold running up some. I'm not sure why it's running up. I've been trying to figure out why gold has been moving. It looks like it started at like 545 or so. So let's see what gold does moving forward. But gold is running back up. It dipped below. If you look at it here, it did dip below 3,000 for a little while today and yesterday. You know, got down to 39.75 for gold futures. Again, you can take a look at Nike here. Here's Nike. Nike didn't do good on its earnings report, fell all the way down to 37s. It's back over at 40 now. We'll see if that holds. But yeah, that's relevant to look at. You can see the NASDAQ is at 30.4 right now, 30.4, down a little bit since the evening open yesterday. But we did run a pretty good amount for the NASDAQ yesterday. Oil has faded all the way down under 70s again. It's at 69s now. So oil's down on, you know, potentially the indirect talks that are going on in Doha. And yeah, we got a lot of other stuff to talk about today. So it's a beautiful morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. Hope you guys are doing well today. We also have Britt here.
Yep. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing?
Yeah. So everybody wish good morning to the birds out my window right now. What's up?
I'm not talk to the birds.
Well, the birds are you, Britt. You're out there right now. Admit it. Admit it right now.
It's totally me. Please.
What's up, Proxy, Steve, Deckers, Kevin, CJ, Elsway, Want to Be a Trader, Apex, Kevin, Significant, Edson, Shrav, Slum, DJ, Bogdan, Easy to Understand, Special 21, Rooftop, CJ. Did I say CJ? I might have. Julie, FME. Stop talking over the bird. I know, bro. Listen, I get it. Fred, what's up, dude? Real World. Good morning in the morning. Hey, good morning, dude. Tom, Sam, what's up, man? King Solomon, good morning, sir. Real Jono, what's up, dude? Yeah, everybody say hey to the birds this morning. May, hey. Good morning, good morning. Ryan. Let's see. Hurt. Wakey, wakey, sleepyhead. Yeah, I'm up, dude. I've been up. Ryan. Uncle Nelly. Jay Violet, good morning. From Aussie Land. Hey, good morning. Ryan. I think I said Ryan already. Drop. Pawn. Gugo. Mike, Sarge, Lag, Woot, Guillermo, KB, John Locke, Cam, Radioactive, Bay Realtor, Peter Mack, Lag, Christian, AK Wash, and everybody else watching the stream. Ski Bum, what's up, dude? I see you in our Discord. What's up, brother? Mickey, AJ, hello guys. Good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful morning here today. Beautiful morning. We're live, yes sir. Max, my friend, hey, how you doing? Oil down to 68.90s here, 68.90s. Yeah, I'm in Michigan right now, you know, but I'm from Louisiana. So like naturally when I see somebody, I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? They don't understand that, I don't think, you know. They're a little bit more, I'm not going to say cold. They're just more reserved here in Michigan. But they're nice people. They're nice people. But yeah, so today we got ADP jobs at 8:15. You can see a timer at the bottom of the screen. ADP jobs at 8:15. A lot of stuff happened overnight. Remember, we do have NFP data tomorrow. So tomorrow, Thursday, 8:30, non-farm payrolls, unemployment, a very important, relevant report for everything going on. The market closes early on Friday for futures, but the stock markets close completely on Friday. So we also had, again, the NASDAQ back over 30K. We have ISM manufacturing data at 10 a.m. as well here. And you can see the S&P 500. Again, you can look at gold here, and gold's been rising back up pretty significantly over the last like hour here. It's back up to 4,040. It's basically where we were yesterday. They kind of pushed up the entire drop that we made yesterday for gold just now in the last like hour or two. People are looking at Warsh today. Maybe we're going to get some hawkish confirmations. Maybe we're going to get some wait and see confirmations. I think Warsh is going to wait. I don't think, again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I don't think he's going to hike rates next meeting. Here, we're getting some kickback from you, Britt. I don't think he's going to raise rates next meeting or even the meeting after that. Not unless we get really deeper escalation and oil spiking, which I don't see happening right now, but it certainly could happen. Bitcoin, if we take a look at Bitcoin today, guys. Here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 58 right now, 58s. So continues its fall under 60s. Fell under 60s yesterday. Hit 57s, last night. And then now it's at 58. So it is under 60. Bitcoin 12-month target by city is now 82,000, cut from 112. ETH's 12-month target is now 2240. It was cut from 3175. So sell side capitulation going on. You can look at strategy here. Strategy's at 87s, not looking good. Yeah, so we had strong manufacturing data in Japan as well. 22 versus 16. It's the highest in 8 years. Prior was 17. Good outlook for manufacturing as well. Large all industry capex. So it supports the Bank of Japan's policy normalization case. The US dollar Japanese yen should fall on that data, but it hasn't, showing dollar dominance. So we'll see what happens there. Again, crude pulling back a little bit, under 70s now. Gold broke 4,000, pushed back up. And Japan's top FX diplomat Memora said, in touch with U.S. counterpart more than most imagine. Said U.S. official made supportive remarks about FX, confirms U.S. supportive of Japanese intervention. So we'll see what happens with the Bank of Japan and the carry trade dynamic, which has been moving things lately. We also, at 8:30, we have the Revelio PLS data, which is real-time labor data for June. It's private data, but we'll see what happens there as well. The Warsh meeting is supposed to last for about an hour. So he's supposed to start speaking at 9 a.m. and then at 10 a.m. we got Lagarde's closing remarks. So that's what we're looking at today. Nike did not do well yesterday. Remember, we had Nike earnings yesterday. We're at $40 right now for Nike. Again, we talked about this earlier. China sales were weak and more. We did also have Challenger job cuts that released today. Released early this morning. They came in at 45,850, basically. 45,849 for Challenger job cuts. So it does show that labor layoffs could be slowing. It's not a super high print like we've seen some recently. And so, yeah, that's more optimistic labor data. And we'll see what the ADP data showed. Remember, the JOLTS report yesterday showed up at 7.6 million. So 7.6 million, stronger than expected. That might make it hard for Warsh to kind of soften his tone on rates. We'll see what happens. Bassett yesterday said, I expect a strong jobs number. And I think we had... Who do we have speak? Hassett said he expects roughly 4% U.S. growth in the second half of this year recently as well. So let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. That is basically the news overnight. Spacex has rebounded back up to 170s. It's looking better. It's at 174s. Previous closing price was around 170. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. What's up, Jarrett, Ashun, Bogdan, Proxy, Yashes? Yeah, let's take a look at yields. I'll look at 2-year Treasury yields. Yeah, here's 2-year. Yeah, yields did jump up yesterday and this morning. They're kind of flat on the day actually today, but they did jump up yesterday, 4.12% for 2-year Treasury yields. Let's see the rate cut odds or the rate hike odds now. Did they increase the rate hike odds with higher yields? I'm assuming so, at least a little bit. Yeah, we're at 34% roughly right now versus 66% Paul's. But 34% chance of a rate hike next meeting with the strong jobs data that we've seen. And again, remember, today is the ADP monthly report. So it's not the weekly report that doesn't do too much influence. It's the monthly report, which is more relevant, more important. You know, we'll see what we get, though. Do you think Kevin Warsh will be somewhat neutral tone instead of hawkish as oil prices come to nearby pre-war levels? I think he's going to go neutral, personally. What do you guys think? Hawkish or neutral? Hawkish or dovish or neutral? Warsh. What do you guys think? Hawk, dove, or neutral? Also, do me a favor. Hit the like button on the stream, guys. We appreciate it. How do you feel about Apple getting back to 300? I think I'm in Apple right now, and so I like it. You know, of course. I think it could hit 300. I think it's a big psychological level close to where we're at. But it's got to get over 290 first. 290, if you look at the chart here, has acted as support for sure on the longer term chart. So 290's got to get over there and hold. It's kind of sitting right around that spot now. So we'll see what happens with 290. But yeah, it's got to get over 290 first. You were warned before you bought Nike? Yeah, I mean, I'm holding Nike long term. You know, so like short term, you know, I'm not super worried about it, to be honest.
Nike's not going anywhere.
No, I don't think so.
And also, neutral on Kevin Warsh.
Yeah. Is Nike a boomer outfit? They're saying boomer outfit? Is Nike boomer outfit?
I mean, I don't think so, but...
Yeah. Young people, unite. Tell me whether it's a boomer outfit or not. Let me know. You know. Warsh speaks at 9 o'clock. It might say it at the bottom in big yellow lettering. Howard. Nike is done. I think neutral wait and watch mode. Hawkish but pulse rates. Hawk. Neutral. Here, we're still getting a lot of kickback from you, Britt.
Not doing anything.
He's going to be a task force. Midterm elections. Yeah, we're getting a lot of it, Britt. Let me see.
I mean, all I can do is mute it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you have the AC on?
Yeah, but it's on every morning.
Oh. Well, maybe we're just hearing it now. New Balance is the ultimate boomer shoes. Not really. New Balance are kind of trendy now again.
New Balance are great. I wear New Balance. Of course, they also make one of the only shoemakers that actually makes a stock shoe that fits my foot. So
yeah,
but they also make good quality shoes.
Yeah. Do y'all hear it? Woot? Do y'all hear the kickback that I'm talking about? It's like I don't know how to explain it. Looks like quite a few setups. Yeah, I bought Nvidia the other day. Nvidia's doing a little bit better. I mean, a little bit better for Nvidia. Is back over or close to 200 here. It's at 198.90s. Broke over 200 for a little while yesterday, so it's doing slightly better. This chat thinks anybody over 35 is a boomer. Yeah, that's probably true. All right, guys. Let's see oil. Gold, honestly, not looking that bad this morning. It's back up some to where it was yesterday, and it's kind of been in a flat range. It's interesting, too, because yields are higher. And so you would think gold might negatively react, and maybe that's why it negatively reacted yesterday. But, yeah, World Gold Council base case sees gold trading near $4,100 an ounce this year. We did get news that the Iranian deputy foreign minister says consultations to determine the date and location of negotiations are ongoing and part of the mediations, according to Al Jazeera. There were a couple incidences overnight, but JP Morgan said to be leading the race for cooling network provider IDEX. Goldman Sachs said 4,900 gold by the end of this year. Yeah, I mean, I hope gold does, but I don't know, man. It certainly could with the volatility. It could be at 3,000 by the end of the year, or it could be at 4 or 5. We'll see. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Nikes or Jordans, and like, dude, I don't know if y'all have seen young people lately, but like, they wear Jordan 1s everywhere. You know. Do we get a tweet? Hold on. I've got to see this tweet. He said, Village People singer Victor Willis is dead at 74. He was a great and happy guy. You know?
That's making oil go up.
It's got to be, right?
You know it.
Rest in peace, though, to the man. You know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, quick little joke there, but yeah. You know, R.I.P.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see any Eagle post or anything like that, so... Of course.
To be fair, I'd make that own joke about myself, so...
Yeah, no, it's... Is anyone waiting for an inflation spike from the past oil situation? I mean, we've already kind of seen it. It's up to 4+% in most inflation readings right now. So we're up to 4+% in inflation. So, Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft is up today. So I did look at Microsoft earlier before I even started the stream. Microsoft is green on the day. It looks good. We're in Microsoft as well, I think. So... You love to see it. You love to see it. But yeah, it's green on the day. Up to 380s now. So is this speaking going to be bearish? I really don't know. I need to ask Warsh about the Clarity Act. Yeah, Euro inflation. Let me see. I did see some news on this. 2.8% year over year versus 3% expected for headline inflation there. Previous was 3.2%. So it did cool some. Negative 0.1% month over month for European inflation data versus a positive 0.1% expected. Core was cooler than expected as well. Services inflation was lower than previous. One of their leaders pushed back on insurance hikes narrative, said they're going to be data dependent. Case for further tightening is receding, one said. ECB should not rush into hikes after oil's decline, right? And I think we're going to see something similar with Warsh. I don't think we're going to cut, but I don't think we're going to hike either. We'll see what he's got to say today. We'll live stream and broadcast the entire thing for Warsh today at 9 o'clock. But I don't think he's going to... cut interest rates or hike interest rates for the next few meetings. I think he's going to keep them the same, and we're going to watch the price of oil and see how that trickles into inflation data that we get, is what I'm assuming here. Because oil has continued to decline. It's at 69s right now. It's at 68s earlier today. So you can see like WTI crude has fallen here. What's a good poll option for the day, guys? Give me some options here.
I mean, you could just go with, is he going to be...
Hawk or Dove?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could go with jobs data as well, because we do get ADP data dropping at like 40 minutes. So, we do have that data today. So at 8:15 we get ADP jobs, and then at 9 o'clock we get Warsh, right? So it's going to be back and forth, and Warsh is going to speak into the opening bell here. So, yeah, we'll see what we get, but it's a big day of data, honestly. We got a lot of stuff coming out, Yeah,
it looks like it's forecasted 118K and previous was 122.
Yeah, so, yeah, we got some stuff dropping today. Yeah, last time was strong. The NFP data last time was strong. And we did get challenger job cuts, again, which is layoffs, basically. That data showed up positive for jobs as well. We had lower cuts than previously at 45.8K. Yeah, it's expected at about 118. Last time was 122, which was stronger than expected. I believe it was expected at about like 90 or 100. Oh my gosh, bro. I swear I might genuinely go yell at this bird.
Honestly, they're bothering the heck out of me.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry, bro.
You should be sorry.
I know.
You know what? That's what you get for messing with me about my feedback that I can't control.
Yeah. I think the chat likes the birds better, though, Gives it a really like nature vibe here, which is what I was going for. That's what I was going for. Like that when I started the stream, I was like, let me feel entrenched in nature today. Let the chat really know I support nature. John loves nature is the headline.
You're gonna start like a David Attenborough nature show.
That's right. I might go yell at that freaking bird though first. Yeah. I love nature so much I go yell at birds, they'll say.
Yeah, and have the neighbors like call the cops. Hey, there's some deranged guy out here screaming at birds. Can y'all come take care of this?
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, the neighbors would probably freak out on that. You don't want to get natural, brother? Yeah, I know. Bird's eye view. Very summerish. Yeah, that's the vibe I was going for. Please be Zen, John. John planned all of this. How many jobs were created last month? It does have a nature vibe. Listen, dude. That's what I was going for, bro. I meant to do this. No. My dogs are not here. They're at home. We got somebody watching our house. Our dogs are with him.
Admit it, John. You hired Michael Winslow to sit outside your window and make bird noises.
Yeah, that's right. Crazy Louisiana man. Yeah, the Michigan headline. That's what the Michigan headline would be. Crazy Louisiana man yelling at birds. You know, what's happening to our Michigan society, they're going to say, you know.
They're not even going to put a picture of you on the paper. They're going to put a picture of Farmer Fran from The Water Boy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. Adam Sandler, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went Bobby Boucher, led the Mud Dogs to the Bourbon Bowl, do you?
Looks like the likes are going up, yeah. Listen, do me a favor, hit the like button, guys. We appreciate it. I will trade today. You know, I've thought about it. I've decided to trade today. Honestly, what I'm really looking at trading right now is the NASDAQ. It just broke down under the 200 exponential. It's now under 30,400 here. So it's under 30,400. Look at it fall. So, I mean, we're red on the day. 30,500 even is the previous closing price. So 30,500 even is the previous close. We just dipped under the VWAP though. Although the problem is, like, I see this trend line here. You can kind of see it on the chart right now. It's a pretty clean trend line if I say so myself. Like, look at this trend line right here. So I don't know if I necessarily want to short. We'll see. We broke under the 200 EMA though. If we break under this trend line and then maybe like rebound back to it, that's what I'm looking at maybe. You don't have to work? Yeah. OMG, already like twice. John is being hawkish with the birds. Yeah, for sure. Yo, what's up, living the dream? What if it's both, Apex? What if it's both right now? Yeah, so look at this bounce. We are bouncing right here. We're bouncing right here at this low. I'm tempted to short the 200 exponential, but I also don't want this trend to continue here. You know, it's a pretty big peak, but I am tempted to short into this 200 exponential moving average and see if we break that trend and break down a little bit here. I might not get a big enough bounce, but that's what I was looking at. Here's the test of the trend line now. See, it just happened too quickly. And this has happened yesterday too. Like, markets have been moving so quickly. I'm missing my entries. We'll see if it's the right move. All right, let's do our poll here today, guys. Our poll is ready. I think we got to go with Kevin Warsh. Will Kevin Warsh have a hawkish or dovish tone today? We'll give 3 options. All right, so will Kevin Warsh have a hawkish or dovish tone today? Vote on the poll. The poll is now live.
Is John more handsome than Kevin Warsh?
I mean, I think that answer is obvious. His speech may not give any clear indication, but it will certainly clarify his new strategy further. Yeah, I mean, that's probably right. I used to have good luck trading NASDAQ trend lines before scalping. Yeah, what's up, Java? Yeah, I mean, we did bounce at that trend line level. This is the level I wanted to short it at. Oh my gosh, dude. If we just run down here, I don't know. The trend line's pretty obvious. It might actually be a little bit. Well, yeah, I think we got to keep it the same. All right, so NASDAQ is trying to flush under that 380 level. Yeah, there's the drop. It would have worked perfectly right here. I was looking at shorting this level right here. All right, so looking at our poll, TLT is dumping. Yeah, that's because yields are going up. Like, TLT is long-term bond prices. And bond prices get adjusted as, you know, yields move, right? So bond prices and bond yields inverse each other, because you have to adjust the price of the bonds with the yield that comes out, you know. Yeah, 30,000. I mean, I don't know if it's in play. It's still a ways away from us. I mean, we're about $375 away from 30K, but we're watching it. The VWAP, look at the VWAP rejection right here. So we rejected exactly, look at the purple line, right at the volume weighted average price. Exactly at the VWAP. Yeah, I mean, stock rally maybe. Also, Jolt stronger than expected. Also, lower challenger job cuts. So again, in 30 minutes, we get ADP data coming out, and that's probably going to move yield some as well. Hey, what's up, GP? What's up, Rambling? All right, so Bitcoin is basically flat on the day technically, but still down under 60K. Not looking great for Bitcoin, to be honest. What's up, Robo? Growth and inflation expectations seem to be on an uptrend going into this morning. Yeah. But oil's not really reacting like that, though. Oil, again, still under 70s. Climbing up a little bit, though, with gold and stuff. But, yeah, oil's down to 69s right now. Services. Yeah. Software as a service. Microsoft. AMD had a big day yesterday as well. Got up to 584. It's down slightly. And again, Nike earnings yesterday. We're watching them. We're in Nike, but it's a long-term hold. It is a long-term hold. Yeah, strategy. Look at Stretch. Stretch still deep in from $100. Again, just so you understand when we talk about Stretch, guys, you might be like, what's Stretch? Stretch is something that, again, I always forget what the technical name for whatever the security is called for Stretch, but when you hold Stretch, it's supposed to pay out roughly 10% in annualized, 10% annually, but you get it in monthly, like essentially dividend payments a month, right? And so they're supposed to keep the price of Stretch at $100, and then you're supposed to make 10% annually by sitting in Stretch, and they're supposed to deposit those, that amount into your account every single month, right? But it's supposed to stay pegged to $100. It is at $85 right now. It is not pegged to $100. It is, with the weakness in Bitcoin and the fears over, strategy and everything else, it is not at $100. It's now at $85. So it is deep in from the $100, place it's supposed to stay, with all the weakness in crypto. Like if I look at a long-term chart here, you can see most of the time it's around $100. Does it move? Sure. But most of the time it's around $100, especially, this year. It's up until this big weakness. We've seen it hover between 98 and 100 for months and months and months. It got depinned from that back in May. So in May, it fell under 95. By June 5th, it was under 97s, under 95s. By mid-June, it fell under 90s, and it hasn't been back over 90 since. So essentially, people that are holding this probably getting kind of nervous. They might be selling, and it's causing kind of snowball effect there is what's going on here. Gold, man, has not stopped this morning. Look at gold. Yeah, so ICBC, apparently the world's largest bank, has stopped individual precious metal trading on the Shanghai Gold Exchange after July 4th, or July 24th this year, announced in June. So leverage retail trading of gold, silver through bank intermediator services. Paper gold speculation through banks is ending. But they're still going to allow physical gold purchases, gold ETFs listings, gold accumulation programs, institutional trading on Shanghai Gold Exchange, and central bank gold buying. So very volatile. It hit 5,600s, remember, for gold earlier this year. It's now under 4,000. It was under 4,000 this morning. That's down 30%. Banks are hiking margins, and it's just volatile. What's up, DH? Just buy QQQI. Hey, what's up, Boo? What's up, Checkerboard? Strategy looks like it will bottom before Bitcoin $45. Strategy is possible. Where's strategy at now? Strategy's at 87s. I wonder if the deal will affect markets. Maybe. Yikes. Yeah. It's a preferred stock perpetual dividend. Yeah, it's rebounded because Sailor raised it to 12% interest now. Yeah, so as it falls, he raises the interest that you make on it to compensate for it. But it's still... I like Bitcoin. Stretch is a little sketchy right now. You know, like holding those preferred stock high, you know, income paying assets is supposed to be relatively safe, you know, but when it dips 10%, 20%, that's a little shady. That's a little sketchy, you know.
I mean, you think long term it'll get back up around the $100 range? I mean, I know it's...
Well, it's going to depend on...
Guess, but...
Yeah, it's going to depend on MicroStrategy and... it's going to depend on MicroStrategy and Bitcoin success, right? Like, if Bitcoin continues to push up, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see. Big if, you know. And it's also, like, even if Bitcoin does well, there's questions about strategy and how they do also. So, yeah. The NASDAQ, the Q is basically the NASDAQ, right? So we look at the Q, it's doing the same thing as the NASDAQ because it's basically the NASDAQ. Q is at 730s, hit 737 yesterday. It's at 732s right now. Same thing with the SPY. Like the SPY is the S&P. So it's at 745s, hit 748s earlier. All right, our poll is live. 40% are neutral on Warsh's tone today, and I gotta agree with those guys. Here, I gotta agree to that. 40% are neutral, 29% dovish on the poll, 31% hawkish, and in 25 minutes we do get the ADP jobs data, chat. So we do get ADP jobs, and in 45 minutes, I think its reputation regarding stretch took a huge hit, so it'd take another bull market in crypto to get sentiment positive again. My guess is it lives in $80 to $90 range for a while. Yeah. MicroStrategy's problem, they need more than $1 billion annually to pay dividends. He will have a liquidity problem. He can only pay dividends by selling Bitcoin. Yeah, for sure.
And also, I know it's usually slower to do so, but is silver following gold up right now?
Yeah. It is. It's at 59s.
And what was it down to?
57s.
Roughly.
This 57's early this morning. Yeah, it hit 57 last week or two. It's been holding support around 57 for silver.
Okay.
Yeah. Are y'all bullish or bearish on the day, guys? I don't think I've asked that yet. Bull or bear? Let me know, chat. Announce yourselves. Let us know if you're bullish or bearish right now. Task Force. Neutral on rates, hawkish on Task Force. Boom, out the NASDAQ short. Did my NASDAQ short idea work here? I was talking about it. It did, bro. Ugh, man. When you're right, you're right. And did not take the trade, but I'm going to celebrate like I was right anyway. Hey, my guy,
not right?
My guy, Jave, thank you for the subscribe, my friend. Shout out to Jave. Y'all hit the subscribe button, guys. We appreciate it. Hit the like button as well. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Just a bigger speech, you know.
Yeah. Somebody else used to say buddy a lot, Britt. I say buddy too now. The ironic thing is I say buddy too now. Like in jiu-jitsu, I'll be like, good roll,
buddy.
A
little bit, but there's a difference between saying it a little bit and saying it like using it every other sentence. That was annoying.
Yeah, for sure. Hassett did say raising interest rates would be an error, while Warsh is a challenging task and listening to some concerns. Would be a mistake to raise interest rates. Warsh has to herd some cats, has a difficult job. Yeah, so Hormuz traffic heading up again after some hiccup days. Expect about 4% growth in the U.S. So we did have Hassett speak earlier. But yeah. I should have short here, though, dude. I was looking at this short, and I just didn't take it. Should have taken it.
You were about to say something about BJJ, and that's really what's important.
Right.
So, what was it?
No, I was just going to say, I find myself saying, hey, good roll, buddy, at jiu-jitsu. You know, I hope it doesn't sound condescending, like good roll, buddy. You know, hopefully it doesn't sound like
way
that.
to go, guy.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I'm being nice. I think people think I'm being like sarcastic. You know, that's how it goes. Hey, thank you, Rizzle. Appreciate the sub, T Rizzle. Thank you, brother.
It's hard to tell if you're being nice or mean whenever you get up and like step on somebody's leg. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Stop on their toe.
Thanks for the subscribe.
Yeah, thank you, brother.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I'm not your buddy, pal. Yeah.
Are you still getting feedback from me or what?
No, it's gone. Bullish till Labor Day. What about until Labor Data? We got Labor Data tomorrow, guys. We got NFP, non-farm payrolls. We have unemployment tomorrow. We've got ADP data in less than 25 minutes. We've got Warsh speaking at 9 o'clock. We got a lot of stuff going on. Did I ask bull or bear? Did the chat answer me and I just miss it? I did. All right, let me see. What did everybody say here? We got another donation.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the dono, my friend. He says, what do you think about varying interest rates? I don't know. It won't let me see. For differing sectors, 2% borrowing costs for government funding and 10% for market speculation. Yeah, I mean, I think we could get some weirdness from the spread there, but you know, we'll see what happens. I don't know a ton about differing sectors and how that's going to correlate, to be honest, but yeah, the spread might make markets be weird, if that makes sense. But I appreciate the donation, Arian. Thanks, brother. Appreciate the love. All right, so let me see. I asked people, are you bullish or bearish? Bull, both. Super bullish, bull, bear, bold and bear. Big bear today. Bully, bull, bear, big bull, bull bear, neutral, bull, bear AF, honey badger. Bull. I hate to say it, but I see red for today. Yep, bearish on the NASDAQ. Bullish until Labor Day. Bull. Baylorish. Targaryen. Squirrel. MMA. Not your buddy guy. Okay. Bull, neutral, big bear AF. They're setting up gold for NFP and then sell. Show starts again. Looking at silver, it's possibly dovish news is being priced in. Something's being priced in, but we've had strong jobs, low cuts in jobs, low layoffs, mostly strong data here, but we do have low oil prices, which is really what markets are probably pricing in that regard, and you know, in regards to yields. You know, they're probably pricing in lower oil, which in turn means lower inflation moving forward for some time. Look at the NASDAQ dip here. Is this a news-driven candle? Hold on.
Let's see.
Maybe not. Maybe it's just a big whippy candle. Again, I should have taken that short. I wanted the short. Didn't take it. Should have taken it.
I don't see anything.
Yeah.
So far.
So, yeah, I just missed the short, unfortunately. Market crashes every time Warsh speaks. Well, that's not true, but
apparently the guy from the Village People is still dead. But other than that, nothing.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for the donation. Bro, I thought the NASDAQ only goes up. Well, long term it does. Short term, who knows? Top 3 biggest bully. Blood in the streets today? I don't know, man. I don't think it looks like that. I mean, we're dropping down some. We got a head and shoulders on the chart, though. Hope Warsh doesn't say good day. Oh, he's gonna say it.
He's gonna say good morning, everybody.
He'll say good day. You get nothing in terms of outlook. I don't think he's gonna give much outlook. We'll see what he's been very critical of outlook. So I don't think we're gonna get outlook from Warsh today, but we might get an understanding in how he might manage interest rates. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he said he's pretty much gonna try to stay away from guidance for now, right? I mean, didn't he say that last time?
Yeah, so he's not going to give us much outlook. NASDAQ continues to fall here. Yeah, I know. People are saying market crashes every time he speaks. He's only spoke once as the Fed chairman, bro. He's done it one time a couple weeks ago. It's not like he's speaking every other day.
I think they just mean period, like whenever he talks to his family or, you know.
Yeah, market goes down. He stubs his toe, you know, market goes down.
Starts yelling and market falls.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the Bank of America closes GPP short position. Aramco and Sonatrach cut July LPG gas prices. Rising global supply prompted Aramco to cut July LPG by 24 to 27%. I don't see oil really moving on this, though. The NASDAQ is downward trending here. I should have shorted it, man. I should have taken it.
Are yields moving down with gold going up?
No. Yields are actually up today, Britt. They're up yesterday at the very least. Yeah, I mean, it's stronger job numbers. I think what's hedging the price of... what's hedging everything is oil. Right, so like, yeah, we got strong job numbers, but we also have much lower oil prices, and so I think the lower oil prices kind of hedges against yields falling from, you know, hedges against yields going up, I mean, from stronger job numbers. Yeah. So I think people are still pricing in, with oil being low, less inflation, and in turn, you know, less fear in that regard. Yeah. But it's future projections. Yeah.
Also, with oil going down, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I know, again, it takes a while for them to go like way back down, but I'm already seeing like a reduction in price of like 40 to 50 cents per gallon where I live. What about y'all?
I don't even, I forgot to look at the gas prices when I bought it last time, so I don't know. Yeah, to be honest. Warsh is a pretty low bar compared to Powell. Yeah, but I mean, look, like, people like to criticize Powell, right? The inflation that Powell had, like, people make it really political. They really do. And it's, again, I'm not being political here. I'm just being objective because I covered everything through 2020. Like, I saw those markets. Like, I watched those markets. Inflation spiked not from Jerome Powell necessarily. You could argue he printed too much. You could argue, you know, he maintained low interest rates, but he did hike 500 basis points or so after inflation started to go up. And so it's one of those things where, you know, we were going to have inflation regardless of who the FOMC chairman was at the time. You know what I mean? So does that make it Powell's fault? I don't necessarily think so. With 2020, you know, lockdowns, supply chain issues, you know, we had to stimulate the economy. If we didn't, people would be complaining about that. They'd be saying, oh, the Fed's just sitting there, you know, not stimulating anything. They're just sitting there, you know. And so regardless, we would have gotten high inflation, regardless of who was the FOMC chairman at the time. So I don't really pin the inflation that we got in 2022 on Powell. I think 2020 was just a weird market. And honestly, we're still dealing with that high inflation. Like, people are still saying inflation. Anytime inflation goes down, which it hasn't in a couple months for sure, but, you know, people still say, oh, well, inflation's still high, prices are still high. Yeah, they're high from the last 6 years, which have been a mess. Yeah. You know, at inflation.
And I'm not saying all of his decisions were completely apolitical necessarily. But I don't know. I think he probably. It seems like he tried to keep, you know, that kind of stuff out of it as much as possible.
Right. Like he cut rates 3 times in 2024. He cut rates 3 times in 2025, regardless of who was president. You know what I mean? So like, he is relatively balanced. He was relatively balanced. You know. But again, people make it political, and you know, it's not super political. I'll be honest. Did I want Powell to cut rates more last summer? Yes. Or the summer before? Yes. I did want him to cut more. But looking at it, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's awesome. I'm not going to say he's awesome. I mean, he's just, you know, he's the Fed, you know.
I don't know. He's pretty awesome. I think all the kids want to grow up to be Fed chair because of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, Fed chair's a hard job.
Every child's dream is to be a banker.
Yeah, you make $200,000 a year. It's really not that much, you know, when you consider the scope of the job. But you know, it has some benefits. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, that bird is not stopping, bro. Dude, he doesn't get tired out there. He's not tired out there of chirping, bro. Like, if I went out there chirping, I'd get tired in about 5 minutes. You know? I'd have to go sit down and take a break.
Need to put feelers out. You know, like, do any kids around here have a slingshot or something? You know?
No, I would never do it. Honestly, in my household, if we kill a spider, Carol's like, no, go let it outside. You know?
Not me. I'm killing that spider.
Leave the bird alone. I'm long birds. Bird is a fan of beginner trading. Maybe he's giving
The
out
only bird
stock
I'm a
picks.
fan of is Larry Bird.
Yeah.
That's because he was awesome.
Bird saying long Bitcoin. Yeah, Bird's bullish. He's got to be, right? With this tone, he's got to be hawkish, you know? He just picked it up, too. Here's a GameStop. Where's AMC?
I think it's just a sign to buy Bird, you know?
Yeah.
Flip-flop to AI.
That Bird's about to see a flip-flop if he doesn't chill out, you know? SpaceX back down to 170s. He's up to 176s.
You just see you throwing a flip-flop out the window.
A bird flip-flop. You know? The circle of life.
Don't kill spiders. Farmer says don't kill spiders. Dude, when you live in South Louisiana, like, yeah, first, I don't know the difference between a lot of spiders, but I'm not taking a chance. We have several, like, very venomous spiders down here.
Yeah, it's no joke with spiders. Like, up here in Michigan, there's not really poisonous snakes. There's not really poisonous spiders. There's not really that many bugs that sting you out here. There's some, don't get me wrong, but it's not like Louisiana. You know, like in Louisiana, bro, you better watch. We saw a coral snake on a trail in Texas. Like, walking on, like, a very suburban neighborhood trail. Coral snake. Super dangerous, you know? So, like, it gets serious out there with snakes and spiders. Here in Michigan, there's, like, nothing. There's barely anything poisonous or venomous. So... Yeah. MU today, guys.
Got cottonmouth, diamondbacks, and brown recluses and stuff.
Yeah.
It's terrible. MU, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, look at MU, guys. MU at 11.19s here. So it did pull back some from where it was yesterday. But MU has been flat after its earnings report. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Cajun. I like Lafayette.
Hey, I'm here.
Yeah. Look at MU. SanDisk did better than MU, I think, yesterday, right? SanDisk got 21s, almost 2,200. So, yeah, SanDisk has honestly been going up more than MU. We'll see what the NASDAQ does here, though. It is starting to break down. Oh, dude. That VWAP short would have worked beautifully, too. I don't think I would have taken it, but, man, VWAP fade. All right, guys, we have 10 minutes. 10 minutes before ADP jobs data. 10 minutes. So
what do you guys think they're coming in? Higher or lower than expected?
Yeah, do we get higher or lower jobs for ADP data? Remember, ADP is a payroll processor. So some people argue that they have more accurate data and it gets revised less and it more accurately reflects the data once it's revised. It's a private company, so it's not official labor data.
As much as the government numbers get revised, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody was just throwing like darts at a dartboard. Okay, it's going to come in at this.
Yeah, they do get revised a lot. It's the surveying aspect of a lot of it, but still.
Yeah.
That's one of the things Warsh
really
criticized, you know, was that basically we're going to have better data under Warsh, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really just fooling. I'm not really, like, you know, talking bad about them, you know, but it does seem to get revised a lot.
It does, absolutely. From somebody that covers it every time, it gets revised a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, ADP pays 1 out of 6 Americans non-military. It's accurate. Yeah. Was the meeting hawkish? There's no meeting yet. I mean, there's a meeting at 9 o'clock. It's an ECB meeting where Kevin Warsh is going to be on a panel specifically is what it is. Right, it happens in 55 minutes. 55 minutes. But remember, first we get ADP data. We get ADP data in 9 minutes actually now. And then we get Warsh speaking at 9 a.m. in 54 minutes roughly from now. Gold had the worst quarter in 13 years. Small cap second best quarter in 25. Day one trading a loose account. Just covered my short. Hey, good luck, Ski. I haven't traded today. I mean, I wanted my short. I missed it. I'm kind of disheartened from that, to be honest. But,
Pepe, I know that quote. I've heard it a lot, but you happen to remember who actually said that? Because I don't off the top of my head.
What the quote is, strong men create good times. Good times create weak men create hard times.
Yeah, I mean, roughly.
Yeah. I think they are crashing gold and silver to fill up their vaults. Well, gold and silver honestly has been running up today, though. Look at gold. So gold has been running up. It popped over 4,000. So it was under. It was at 39.70s here early this morning. It's now all the way back up to like it hit 40.50s basically. It's at 40.37s right now for gold. So gold's been moving. It's up a little bit today, which is ironic because yields are up over the last 15 hours.
I need silver to run up where gold is, and then I will have made hundreds of dollars.
Gold knows easing is coming. If we continue to get low inflation, and specifically low oil prices, maybe, right? Like here's oil. If we continue to get low oil prices, you know, maybe we will see that. But
Jeez, Pew.
dovish. Yeah, I'm looking at the poll now. Again, 40% still neutral, 30% dove, 31% hawkish. So most people are neutral, and I think that's the right choice, to be honest. But what we're seeing right now, though, guys, is we're seeing the NASDAQ dip, and this is partly because MU is fading back down some. It's at 11.17s right now. We see NVIDIA drop a little bit this morning. Other tech has been moving. Google just went green on the day. AMD had a big day yesterday. It's down slightly, basically flat on the day right now, though. Amazon's green. Meta's been moving a lot. It's green. Microsoft's up on the day pretty nicely. It's getting close to the high of the day as well at 380 or so. 380.35, the technical high of the day for Microsoft here. So we'll see what happens. But again, the ADP data drops in 6.5 minutes, guys. 6.5 minutes. So let's see what we get. SanDisk is pretty strong still versus a lot of other stuff, but it's red on the day. It's at 21.70s, but it hit almost 2300s last night at the closing bell. So,
okay, it's pretty good.
Yeah, SanDisk is just wild.
A powerhouse, huh?
Yeah, man. Memory just running. What asset do you guys want to buy today? You know, again, in 6 minutes we got ADP data. What do you guys want to buy? All-time highs 5 times this month. Yeah, but we're still a decent percentage away from all-time highs. I mean, look at the NASDAQ. All-time highs, 30,000, just under 31. And like on a percentage basis, I mean, we're getting closer to all-time highs, to be honest. We're not that far away from all-time highs right now, so we could certainly hit it. But we're down only a small percentage from all-time highs on the NASDAQ. So we get good Warsh, good data. You know, maybe we start to test those all-time highs. We get bad data. Maybe we start to dip under 30K. We're kind of right in the middle between 30 and 31s right now on the NASDAQ. So
let's see. People are saying Bitcoin, SpaceX, SoFi, AT&T, Palantir, buying more silver. I'm kind of with you on that, I think, maybe, Sam.
It seems cheaper. You know, I don't know if it's cheap just based off of like where it was. It was at like, what, 35s to start the year?
Yeah,
45.
A few years ago, it was down to like $15 or $16.
Yeah, so it was at 40s 12 months ago. So, I mean, 60s is not that bad considering it was at 120s back in January of this year. So, 7 months ago, it was at 120s here. It's crazy we're almost halfway through the year already, though, to be honest. Like, it's kind of crazy.
I know, it's flying by. It really is.
Yeah, it is. We're getting accumulate on the dips.
Wish it went by back, like it did back when we were kids in school. Went slow as heck then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which seemed horrible then, but it'd be great now.
Yeah, for sure. I see somebody asking, what are your thoughts on Take-Two when they release GTA 6 in November? I think we might see... I think it's going to break records, obviously. But I think we're going to see that dynamic start to get priced in as we get closer to the release. I think if they delay it, it's going to get worse. But, I mean, I think what we're seeing right now and what a lot of people are capitalizing on over there since February is GTA coming out. You can see we've had upward movement from 190s earlier in the year to 250s now. And so I think people are getting priced in to that release. But it's going to happen now. It could be buy the rumor, sell the news. But if it breaks records like I think it will, we still might go up even after the release for this. But I don't know for sure. Not an investment professional, of course. We're not liable, obviously. Does anybody
looking forward to a return to Vice City?
Yeah. Oh, I had Vice City as a kid on PS2.
Me too. It was great.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. All right, guys. We have 3 minutes left until ADP data comes out. 3 minutes. Let's prepare ourselves here. Again, rate hike odds have actually increased with higher yields over the last few days with stronger jobs. 34% likely that we're going to hike next meeting. Yields are up from jobs data over the last few days. Like here's 2-year treasuries. We're at 4.17% right now, 4.17%. And on the day, you can kind of see we're basically flat, but we're up a little bit. And they've been pushing up since yesterday. So for yields, but here we go, guys. We have 2.5 minutes. All right, let's get ready. Again, ADP data is expected today at 118 or so, 118, 120s, 115, depends on which person, which source you're looking at. But last time it showed up at 122. We do have manufacturing data today, ISM at 10. So we have ISM manufacturing at 10. Watch prices on that data, like ISM prices. That's going to have an influence over things. But all right, guys, 2 minutes before ADP data and 45 minutes before Warsh, or 47 minutes before Warsh speaks. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get big movement from ADP, but we could. Market needs to relieve after such a strong run. Yeah, Warsh speaks at 9 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time, Max. Yeah, the birds, they're here. All right, guys, here we go. We have 1 minute, roughly, a little bit over a minute left. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. We'll see what this data shows us this morning. But ADP jobs in 1 minute, roughly, right now. I'm going to put gold and the NASDAQ up to see how these react. We'll watch yields, obviously, after they come out. But we're going to watch gold and the NQ. So here we go. And the song comes on right before. All right, guys, 45 seconds. Higher or lower than expected? Let me know in chat right now. We got a little bit over 30 seconds.
Say higher.
Higher?
Yeah.
I think we could go higher. I think the data showed higher recently. It doesn't always correlate perfectly, but we could see higher for sure.
Yeah.
Expected. Down, lower. 110s. Higher. All right, guys, here we go. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And here's the data right now. It showed up at 98,000, lower than expected. 98K for ADP jobs. 98,000, lower than expected. Not low enough to cause like a panic, but jobs were weaker than expected here at 98,000 for ADP data today.
No bummer.
98,000. The market's honestly not reacting a super high amount from this, but it did show up lower than expected right now. And the NASDAQ might like this. We've seen some dynamics like this recently where the market fears inflation, and so lower than expected might ease some of those fears a little bit here. So we couldn't see positive reactions. NASDAQ's actually up a little bit, and so is gold from this. Gold probably, it's going to be more easy of a correlation to watch. But so far, both of these have gone up from this data here. Here's the data right there in chat. We just put it up in chat right now. We'll put it up on screen so you can watch it. Whoa. But yeah, the data's stronger than weaker than expected. I mean, lower than expected. NASDAQ and gold have reacted positively here. There's the data right there on screen.
Good morning, Brian. I'm going to pretend to have euphoric recall and say, I totally said it was going to be lower.
Yeah. I heard it. I heard it.
Yeah. Nobody shattered my worldview.
Yeah. Yeah, weaker than expected. 98,000 for ADP jobs. Again, sometimes the first move is the wrong move. We have pushed up. Let's take a look at what yields are doing on this. I'm assuming yields are going to be down a little bit. Maybe not a lot, but down some. Yields have been weird, though, lately. It hasn't been perfect. Like, they dropped a little bit on this report 4.183%. Remember, at 8:30 we get the I think it's the Revelio Labs inflation expectations as well. So we'll see what that looks like also. But Warsh speaks at 9, lower than expected jobs. Lower, no cuts, especially when the World Cup moves. On-time ADP data is the late one is always the weekly report. The monthly report's almost always on time. So usually the late one that they post like a minute later is usually the weekly ADP employment change numbers. Yeah, I mean, this does look a little bit more dovish. So rates should be moving down on this report. Again, I don't know if it's going to have a big influence, especially with like everything going on today. Yeah. Again, 37% think Warsh is going to be neutral. 33% he's going to be hawkish. Here's what the chat says. Rates to be lower. On weaker jobs, it could mean less inflation fears. More of a pivot to concerns about growth. I don't think this jobs report is anywhere near weak enough to really make it this dynamic, you know. But the logic of lower rates, and when I say rates, I mean yields. I'm not talking about the Fed. I don't think the Fed is going to cut based off of ADP data's monthly report. But slightly weaker jobs potentially means, you know, less inflation, more green light to cut interest rates. But it's a small dynamic for sure. Very small dynamic. Let's get a countdown to Warsh speaking now. Again, Kevin Warsh speaks at 10 a.m. Hey, thank you for the subscribe, Kevin. Thank you, friend. Thank you, bro. But so far, we have seen a positive reaction, which kind of mirrors the Jolts report. Jolts report, we got a negative reaction originally from stronger jobs too. So maybe the market fears jobs to a certain extent right now in an inflation fearing market. Brian, I'm trying. I have to give it up before I go back home. You know. All right, look at gold still moving up. Gold's at 40,042s here. Let me see if I want to trade this at all now. I mean, we are heading into Warsh. I might short this right here. I'm going to take 2 contracts, add to it if it goes in my favor. I don't think the volume profile looks necessarily favorable right now, so we're going to take small size and add. Let's see what happens here, but yeah, there's PMI today as well, yeah. Warsh will say he's done with PCE data. You think he's going to pivot to CPI data now? Alright, so we got a little green here. We can maybe add some more. I hope that short-term moving average doesn't prop us up, though. But 200 exponential might reject us. We got a couple contracts here. Small little trade. We'll see what happens. Warsh said he won't be hinting at his moves. Yeah, he's not going to give forward guidance. And so I wouldn't expect too much forward guidance today. I think it would be a wild thing for him to criticize forward guidance and then give it out his first comments outside of FOMC. But he might talk about his plan for managing rates. That's where we're going to get kind of some indication on like what his strategy is for rates. Yeah. All right. Remember at 8:30 we do have the what is it? Yeah, 9 o'clock. We have ISM data as well. I always forget this data. This data is not a huge one at 8:30, but we have some data coming out at 8:30 as well. I think it's called the Revelio PLS. And again, NFP data, you can see it on the screen right now. It's kind of prelim NFP data is what the ADP data is. All right, so we're back into the green here. I'm gonna give it some time. Again, make sure to use my code BGT on all major prop firms. Yeah, we're gonna stream Warsh live for sure. Task Force. Hey, thank you, Deke. Appreciate it, Patrick. Thank you, brother. I don't have the money for a monthly subscription, but I'll support the channel whenever I can. This is the best channel here. Hey, thank you, Patrick. Appreciate the love, brother. Thanks so much. Warsh speaks at 9 o'clock, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, SpaceX is up to 175s right now. I am now red on my trade, though. It's small, though. Let me get the Warsh countdown in so people can actually see it. There we go. We'll put up my trade back up here. I'm not doing great, but it's not a large trade. I was hoping that 200 exponential would reject it more, but we'll give it a second. I put a stop loss up there. Yes, not AM Central. Hey, thank you for the Mike Jones. Hey, thank you, brother. Shout out to Mike Jones. Who? Thank you for the $20 donation, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate the love, my friend. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Mike Jones.
This is a funded account, Sarge. Alright, so yeah, we're in this. We got a stop loss set. We'll see what happens. Call Mike Jones. Mike Jones is here, you know. Yeah,
years is going wild. I mean, they're a great man, so.
Yeah, we can look at yields here today. Yields are actually up a little bit from ADP data, which is interesting because it was weaker than expected, which you would think we'd have an opposite correlation there, but... Top 3 chirping channel. Yeah. 281-330, guys. 8004. Mike Jones has some great music, too. It's just good music, man. You know? Back then, the chat didn't want me, you know?
Now I'm hot.
Yeah.
They're all on me.
The birds all on me, you know?
Yep.
Hey, I appreciate the love, guys. Thanks so much. All right, so look at this drop right now. Let me see news coming out real quick. EU's Costa says Montenegro accession talks could be completed. Spot gold increases gains after ADP report rising 0.5% to 4,025 an ounce. Yeah, data was weak for jobs. We're basically flat on this position now. All right, but yeah, Warsh, guys. 30 minutes.
On my news report, gold just creases.
Yeah, listen.
Increase.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, so at 8:30, guys, we get it's data you probably never heard of. It's the Revelio Labs Workforce Intelligence Analytics. It was founded in New York in 2018. Whoa. Hey, thank you. We got some type of donation here. Shout out to all the donos today, man. Hey, Mahed. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Gifted 10 beginner trading memberships. Hey, thank you, my friend. Thank you, brother. So shout out to you guys. You guys did get a A free beginner trading membership. Shout out to you, my friend. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you, dude. Man, we're
Thanks,
getting a
man.
lot.
You're the greatest.
We've got a lot of donations. So now, Fed Rage, you get a donation. Coach Cleats, you get a membership. Ryan, you get a membership. Sarge, membership. Wally, membership. Austin, membership. Bogdan, membership. Homeless Investor, membership. Way, membership. MLK, membership. Congratulations.
You gotta do it in the Oprah voice.
Yeah, congratulations to you guys. Y'all have won memberships today for free. From my head. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Shout out to you, man. Congratulations. You guys have done it today. You guys have done it. But yeah, so we get Revelio Labs data dropping in about 2 minutes. They aggregate and analyze workforce data from millions of sources in real time. They use like public job boards like Indeed, corporate press releases, news mentions, regulatory filings, company websites, and LinkedIn profiles to see private labor sector data. It doesn't really move markets. There we go. Something's dropping the market right now, though. I'm going to take a little bit off here. But I'm going to give this a little time on the rest, I think, here, too. I mean, we're green nonetheless today, but... yeah, I don't see any real news hitting the tape. But we are green now.
Me either.
All right, we'll see what the... yeah, we'll see what the Revelio Labs data shows. I'm not super used to covering it, but I've seen it come out before. So we'll see. Get a little whippy price action, though.
And yes, MG, like in Hogwarts Legacy.
All right, guys. About 1 minute here. 1 minute. I'm showing Hormuz traffic still staying way below normal. It still remains steady. 34 vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz, according to Kepler data yesterday. Yeah, ADP report says it's taken people longer to find work, but signs of labor supply constraints in certain industries. Overall effect is slowdown in job creation. Many made total number of jobs added unchanged at 120, unchanged from 122,000. So private hiring is missing expectations here. All right, so I'll go ahead and get out of this. We've bounced too much. I just want to lock in the profit that we've made. But yeah, private hiring did miss expectations. Some on the ADP data 15 minutes ago. And bad news for GameStop. I just saw news that PlayStation says new PlayStation games are going to be digital only after January of 2028. And I thought that dynamic would happen. Real quick, though, let's see what the Revelio Labs data is showing here. It should drop right now in about 5 seconds. Here it goes right here. Yeah, it shows economy added 258,000 jobs in June, driven by significant job gains in the public administration. All right, so look at this drop here, guys. So we are seeing some drops. Again, I don't know how much the Revelio Labs data is really going to affect things, but... yeah, again, it showed non-farm payrolls at 258.5 thousand, up 123.7 thousand. Last one was revised to 110. Market does not like this. Look at this drops coming through. Market does not like this. Yeah, I'll put this up on screen now as well. But more jobs data making maybe yields spike. Let's see what yields are doing. Yields aren't really moving yet, but there's sometimes lag. Yeah, yields just jumped up too on this. So interesting. Hey, thank you for becoming a member, Kat. Appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Yeah, let me get out of my stop loss. Appreciate it. But yeah, there's the Revelio Labs non-farm payrolls data that released here. So there's that data right there. Tweet? Is it a tweet? No. It is not. Why, if jobs are lower, markets should like it to do interest rate increases of probability. Cut interest rates. Yeah, so basically, Wait, did you just give out another 10 memberships? Hey, shout out to Mahid, man. Thanks so much, brother. Shout out to you, man. My head with another 10 beginner trading memberships. Bro, by the end of this, everybody's going to be a member here. Y'all are now made men and women. All right.
That's great, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, dude. Patrick, you got a membership. My head, you gave yourself a membership. Fred, you get one.
It's the second time that's happened.
Discipline, you get one. Justin, Gemini, Freedom, Luke, Cece, Cody. Y'all all get memberships here, dude. I swear, the people that don't get memberships are going to feel left out. But thank you again, my friend. Shout out to you, bro. Look at all the donations today, man. Shout out to everybody that has supported the channel through donations. Thank you, my friends. I appreciate it. The birds are happy. If you don't hear them, they're loving this right now. So,
everybody's showing love. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, dude. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the love, dude. But yeah. The president just said they're talking about Boeing. I haven't even looked at Boeing stock recently here. There's SpaceX. Last time I really watched Boeing heavily was when we had all that volatility back in, when was this? Was that 2020? Was it that long ago, bro? Man. It might have been back in like 2023. But yeah, look at gold. Gold's still moving a little bit. Here is the NASDAQ here. President Trump says on Iran, says very good meetings and everything is going well. Okay, so that news is coming out. Where is he speaking at? Yeah, he said very good meetings, getting along very well. Things are going well with the meetings, apparently. Yeah, so look at the NASDAQ jump up on this news. Okay, so look at the rip here on the president's comments saying the meetings are going well. Is oil falling with it? I'm assuming. Yeah, oil down to 68.80s here. Not really moving that much. But look at the NASDAQ jump a little bit at least. And now it's retraced all the way back down. What happened? Whoa, look at this drop. Whoa. Volatility is here. Meta is developing a cloud service to market its extra AI processing capacity. He commends new Boeing Air Force One. Very good meetings, getting along very well. Wow, look at that drop. Yeah, look at this dip here. Wild. 2.2. Where is he speaking at right now, though?
I don't know. I didn't even know he was supposed to speak.
Yeah. He just said
does
very
that
good
pretty
meetings.
often,
Yeah, for sure. His quotes will just pop up randomly. Help or hurt the
Yeah.
market, you know. NASDAQ falling down, though. Pretty decent amount here for an opening candle here. We just cracked the lows of the day on this candle just now on the NASDAQ. Look at the dip happen. So let me check stock news to make sure there's no other news. I don't see oil reacting well. I see MU falling, though. MU's down to 111.11 basically for MU. Nvidia's dumping down here as well. And I don't see oil, so maybe this isn't on his comments. Maybe this is just chip fears. AMD dipped. These are Mag 7 movements. MU dipped. SanDisk dipped. Nvidia dipped.
Man.
Apple dipped. So, interesting, for sure. Yeah, maybe Meta's building a cloud business to sell excess AI compute, but man, NASDAQ just cracked lows of the day randomly here.
Honestly, every time I see a quote of his, I just hear it in his voice and it cracks me up.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, NASDAQ just cracked lows again here.
There's something else happening?
Not that I see here. I'm looking at news.
Me too.
Trump on financial disclosures. Everyone's profiting because the stock market is up. On financial disclosures, conflict of interest. I never speak to the people that run the money. He said denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. Getting along very well. Very good meetings.
Here's hoping. Great meetings. Some people say beautiful meetings.
Yeah. Yeah, people walk in, they say, wow, would you look at that meeting? Software is holding nice. Yeah, but the NASDAQ is dipping here. We're at 30,278. Yeah. I see all you guys jumping in the stream to try to figure out what's going on. I think it's the Trump quotes. Most tech is down, though, specifically NVIDIA down to 197s. MU is down. SanDisk is down. Apple is down. Look at MU right now, though, chat. So let me show you guys some stuff here. So here's MU. Oil prices aren't moving, which almost makes me think it's not the president's. But look at MU dipping here. Maybe there's a correlation with tech in regards to Meta building cloud business to sell excess AI compute.
Hey, thanks, Farmer.
Yeah, but I don't see anything going through on the tape here at all. Trump declares that he is generating profits too. He is making money due to rising the stock market. He said that everyone is making profits as the stock market rises. Says Iran talks are progressing well, applauds decreasing oil prices, commends rising stock market, and thanks Qatar for new Air Force One gift. Thanks Qatar for new Air Force One gift. But yeah, look, here's the NQ right now. Broke lows of the day, back up to 30. I should have held that short, dude. Rotation out of semiconductors, yeah. Yeah, it's gotta be the president's comments here. Which again is not a tweet. It's a yeah, no tweets. It's just posts. No.
Yeah, just something from wherever he's speaking.
Are you bullish or bearish, guys? We got Warsh in 20 minutes. So Warsh does speak in 20 minutes. We'll see how that goes, but some bearish action ahead of this Warsh speech right now. NASDAQ just cracked
50% of the chip market by the time he leaves office.
Yeah. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ dip. Yeah, everyone is making money, rising stock market. He said, quote, sorry, he said, quote, we're building a lot of car plants and AI sites in the United States.
I know we had several of them on the docket. I wonder how many are actually under construction at this point.
Yeah. Oh, NVIDIA has a chip plant here. They're building one, and obviously they have it in Taiwan, but they're a U.S. company. NASDAQ still cracking lows. We're down to 30,263s right now, so NASDAQ is fading here right now, guys. I don't know what this is. But
yeah,
it's got to be the president's quotes here regarding AI, no? But the thing is...
Kia and Volkswagen are... Go ahead, sorry.
They don't seem to be... they don't seem to be... bearish quotes, though. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, MU down. NASDAQ crack lows again, 30,259s right now. Yeah, I see Meta going up on the news. Yeah, this could be Meta rotation. Look at Meta right here. Meta's up to 603s right now with that catalyst we just covered a second ago. So I think it's honestly going down because of the Meta news. Meta announced Meta announces it's going to build a cloud business to sell its excess AI compute, which, you know, with other cloud companies, it's negatively it's causing negative reactions in other cloud providers and chip providers and memory names. So like you can see Amazon down on that news, Oracle down on that news, Microsoft down on that news. So that's what it is. Is that Meta getting into the cloud business is bad for other cloud providers and in turn other stocks in tech and dragging tech down. And you can see that because Meta is the outlier here. Meta's up to 606 right now. So again, NASDAQ is moving down. I don't think it's from the president's quotes here. I think the president's quotes are all relatively predictable in all honesty, right? But I think Meta announcing it's build a cloud business to sell excess AI compute, it's now like causing other cloud providers, Amazon, Oracle, Microsoft, and chip and memory names like Nvidia, MU, and Intel to drop. So that's what this is. Look at Meta up to 610s right now.
Solar Wind says Palantir's CEO is flipping out on CNBC saying something about AI.
Yeah. Yeah, but look at this, man. MU bouncing back. This is Meta.
No, meant in terms of affecting the market.
Yeah. What are bonds doing? Let's see. Yields aren't really moving that much, to be honest. I mean, they're up 0.01% right now, but they're not really moving. Yields are up some, but yeah, look at Meta run here on this news. So this is Meta news here. Yeah, is this an overreaction? Again, we got Warsh in 15 minutes here. NASDAQ just cracked lows again, though, guys. Look at the NASDAQ here. I might buy this up. I don't know, but... Alright, I'm going to buy a small piece here. Is it dangerous? Sure. But danger is my middle name. Let's see what happens. Small little scalp, though. We're going to scalp this if we can, but...
John Danger in London, huh?
It does seem like it's an overreaction here. Alright, I'm going to take one off just to hedge. There we go. And we're going to get out right here. Little scalp. We'll see what happens on the rest. But it seems like an overreaction. But it's definitely competitive now. Competition based with Meta getting into the cloud business, scaring some other memory provider names, but all the market does is overreact. Yeah. I enjoyed the show because of the 150-point drop. I know, dude. Listen. And I just want to say, I see what y'all are doing. Y'all are like, hey, some shit's going down in markets. Let's go see what's going on at beginner trading. You know, I know, and I appreciate it. I'm not attacking you, you know. I don't know what I'm going to call you guys yet. You're not lurkers, you know. What should I call you guys? Let me know. The people that just tune in when we get a big data release randomly and on a Wednesday.
Fair weather viewers.
Yeah, the fair weather. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I see what y'all are doing, but we also have Warsh speaking, so you might as well stick around because we got Warsh speaking in freaking 15 minutes.
I would hang out if I were you guys, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's right. The Drifters. I think I might call you guys the Drifters. The Village.
It's a musical group. That's a doo-wop group from like the 50s.
Opportunistics, yeah. Bots today? It's not bots. It's people wanting to see what's going on with news.
Interlopers, according to Woodnall. That's not bad.
Yeah, I like the Drifters. We got the lurkers and the Drifters here. The Stream Crashers, yeah. Yeah, the Unprofitables. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we're streaming Warsh. Yeah, we're streaming Warsh.
With names like those, we could compete with the Temptations, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Alright, so Warsh is speaking at ECB Forum in Sintra today, guys. So remember, Warsh is speaking. Yeah, the theme of the 2026 ECB Forum on Central Banking will be Shaping Europe's Future, Innovation, Growth, and Stability. It does include Kevin Warsh.
Hey, well, thank you, Random.
Frank, Mariota. You would think they put Warsh at the top. Ralph, Giovanni, Enrico. These are definitely European names.
Max, you're ridiculous, dude. That's funny.
All All right, guys, we are waiting on the ECB site to watch this. Yeah. All right, guys, 13 minutes until Big Papa Warsh starts speaking here. We got it up. We're waiting here.
I like it when they call me Big Papa, you know?
Yeah, throw your hands in the air if you're a true dove, guys. Meta at 600 might cause a support level here. NASDAQ has broken down some. It looks like I got out of that long at exactly the right time. So, yeah, let's see what we get today. But Warsh speaking soon. Gold expectation, bro. I don't know what gold's going to do. It depends on if he's hawkish or dovish. I think he's going to be neutral, but I think there might be some, variation in his tone versus just completely neutral. I think we're going to hear his path potentially on rates. I don't think he's going to give forward guidance, but we might see what his plan is regarding rates. I don't know. Yeah, y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Are we in sub-only mode yet? We are.
No.
Okay, good. We are. All right, good. Russell's ripping. Yeah, look at Meta. Meta's right at 600s. And again, the news influencing markets right now is Meta getting into the cloud business. That's scaring other memory providers and also chips in general outside of Meta here. So we get the NASDAQ dumping, Meta ripping, over 600s, hit 612s. Now the market is kind of up in the air ahead of Warsh. Will Warsh wash out the market? There's so many puns to be had right now with Warsh. Warsh has just got that name. The Newsboys? Yeah, maybe. Alright, guys, here we go. We got 2,000 people watching right now. I appreciate you guys watching me, but... yeah,
tuning in, everybody.
Most chip names are not reacting well to the meta news. So maybe we'll see some inverse NASDAQ meta stuff here. Where's my task force? It's coming. 10 minutes, roughly. What will be the next thing Warsh creates a task force about? What will be the next
lunch
thing?
from the break room fridge.
Yeah, what will be the next task force we get from Warsh? NASDAQ testing lows of the day again. We're at 240s now. I'm subbed? Yeah, you're subbed, dude. Just a stoner. You are subbed, friend. You're stoning too much out there, You don't even know if you're subscribed right now, bro. What are you doing? Oil task force.
Question mark.
Bitcoin going for another low? Is it really? Let's look at Bitcoin right now. Yeah, Bitcoin down to 58,320s. What is your expectation to Warsh down or up? It depends on what he says, to be honest. We'll see. We will see, friends.
That's right. That's right, Matt Bailey. Thanks for throwing that out there. Everybody pay attention to Matt Bailey. That like button is all lonely over there, like he said. Just give it a tap.
It might feel good to hit the like button, guys. I think it could feel good to hit the like button. So just try it once,
I think most likely nothing will ever feel more right.
Yeah, everybody here is doing it. So, just try one time. NASDAQ up to 30,280s here. 30,280s. Bitcoin cracked below 57 yesterday. Yeah.
Thanks for the love, Matt, by the way. I appreciate it.
Yeah. SK Hynix is dropping. Yeah, a lot of tech. Memory names are what's falling on this news with Meta getting in the cloud. All right, guys, here we go. We got 8.5 minutes. Are you long or short Bitcoin, guys? Long or short the NASDAQ? Are y'all bullish or bearish? We'll just ask bull or bear right now in chat. What do you guys think?
Bullish on the NASDAQ and bearish on Bitcoin.
All right, so yeah, I'm going to start to get this, the Warsh Press conference ready here. All right, guys. So Nasdaq did bounce a little bit back up there. Let's see if it holds. Let's see. Bull or bear? Bear, bull. No comment. Long Bitcoin DCA spot here. I wasn't on live. What's up, GB? I'm both on the S&P. Short now on Bitcoin. I am both bearish on all of it. Bull on Oracle. Waiting to catch the low on Bitcoin. What about gold? Yeah, gold honestly has had a pretty good day up until. Gold's honestly holding pretty well, though. It's at 4,040s right now.
Yeah, but I hope Wajikon is right. He's a gold bear, and I hope he's correct.
Yeah, here we go. We got Warsh speaking in 7 minutes here. Short on gold, bear. Gold bear, gold bear. I don't know what's worse, using up resources on the PC so I can chat or seeing you on the big screen TV. They're both bad, you know. Definitely bearish.
That was very rude. Consider me
bearish on, bearish when Trump tweets. 4,000 zone psychological price. Only a face a mother could love right here, bro.
Yeah, but whose mother?
It depends on what gold. It depends on which gold we're looking at. I'm looking at gold futures, but spot's gonna, you know, lead it a little bit usually. All right, Nasdaq's testing lows of the day again here. All right, guys, 6 minutes until Warsh. Because it's gold futures, 3D. We're looking at gold futures. Trying to lurk while packing. What's up, Jay? Hey, thank you for the lurking. Again, if you want to help support the channel, you like gold trading, try futures. Futures, you can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. No PDT rule. Lucid's great. End of day drawdowns and everything. The flex funded accounts, once you're actually funded in a flex account, it has some of the best rules in the game. They are an affiliate of mine. I'm biased, but genuinely useful. You can go direct to funded as well. And if you haven't used the 50% off twice yet, you can use it 2 times, including in direct to funded. So here's the link for that if you want to help support the channel. There's the link right there. We'll put the link up. We'll pin it to the top of the chat.
Good deal if you guys haven't taken advantage of it. You really should.
Yeah. Yeah, gold still sitting. NASDAQ cracked lows real quick again. Got down to 30,000 and 230s here. 30,000 is not that far away from us. So if Warsh comes out pretty rough here, we'll have to see what we get. But we got less than 5 minutes. I'm going to get this screen up here, and I'm going to grace you guys. So let me know if you're bullish or bearish right now on these markets, guys. I think you could go either way with Warsh about to speak, in all honesty. So you could go either way. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But
what are you gracing us with, John?
My presence, you know.
Oh, your beautiful visage.
Yeah,
you know.
That's right. Of course, that's it.
I'm from Bulgaria. You shouldn't tell people your name on here, Bulgaria.
Yeah. Terrible joke, bro. Terrible joke. I don't know if it's worse than my jokes here, but
I know it was terrible, but
it was
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
It was not good at all, dude. Not good at all. My jokes are worse. Don't get me wrong, but hey, yeah.
You know, like I've said before, I take a buckshot approach to humor. Something's gonna hit,
right? You know? Sometimes it just doesn't hit, you know. And
yeah.
So that's how it goes, I think.
But I find as long as I make me laugh, it usually works for other people too.
Yeah, I guess, dude. I guess. All right. So look, I'm getting the screen up here so we can watch Warsh chat. So just bear with me. Pun intended, I guess. Yeah.
Right after he got through admonishing me for my terrible joke.
Right. Yeah, dude. That's what I do here. John the Admonisher, they say. All right, guys. We got the NASDAQ up here. We're waiting on Warsh to speak. Let's do this. We're here waiting. Get this scanner out the way. There we go. We got the NASDAQ up in the corner here. Oh, let's see what we get here today, guys. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Gold, let's see what it's doing here. I can put gold up. Gold up to 4,038. Watch yields. It's gonna be a it's a panel technically for Warsh today. So it's a panel. So is it gonna be like a pure economic speech? No, but it's a panel that Warsh is speaking on. It's supposed to last about an hour. Memory is dumping because Meta came out with some news about, what, 20-30 minutes ago that said they're getting into the memory business, and that negatively affected memory names as well. Or they're getting into the cloud business, which negatively affected memory names, and in turn negatively affected chips and more. So it kind of drug tech down, except for Meta. Meta, again, if you look at the top right, Meta flew up to 612s on this news story here. NASDAQ broke lows of the day, is what the news was. So all right, guys, 2 minutes. You guys ready? We do have more data coming out later on today, so be careful. We do have more data, though. And I'm looking at yields right now ahead of this report. It's supposed to start in 1 minute. We got a couple different sources up for this news release, so we'll get it on time. But yields did jump up a little bit on that. We'll have to watch yields during this speech as well, though. There's the NQ, 30,282s right now. Buy or sell gold? What do you guys think? ISM manufacturing is somewhat important, yes. Alright guys, 30 seconds until this is supposed to start. Here, but I'm going to have to mute you for a second and then the stream's going to start, so...
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll probably have to hang up with you now. We'll wait for it to actually start, but once it starts, I'm going to have to hang up with you.
How long is it supposed to run?
An hour.
Alright, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
Y'all have fun. Don't miss me too much.
Oh, we won't. Yeah. Yeah. So I said buy or sell gold. I see a lot of mixed reactions here. All right, so there's 8 o'clock. Let's see when this thing starts. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to have to mute you now, Britt. Sorry, dude. Later, bro. Turn the sound up so you guys get the best sound in the game right here. Nothing yet. Last minute predictions, bull or bear on this, guys. He is a little late today. Nothing yet. We're waiting here. But nothing yet. He's supposed to start at 9. What is his opening line? I don't know. Bull, bear, bear raid, bear, absolutely bearish on everything. Bull, he won't want to raise rates of data, send it to 0. Yeah, remember, he's supposed to speak on a panel right now. Still nothing. Super Bowl. Yeah, Meta shares are up 6.3% in pre-market. I don't know if they're up quite that much now. I think they pulled back some, but... NASDAQ's actually jumping up some here, though, as we speak, waiting for this to start. Remember, we get payrolls tomorrow as well, so not a small week, all things considered. Still nothing yet. They're a little late here. We're waiting. I got multiple sources up. We're still slow here. All right, so we're still waiting for Warsh to come out. NASDAQ got up to 30,300s. The NASDAQ hit that 30,300 level. That didn't really look like a bad level here, in all honesty. Okay, here we go.
These forces test our growth model, our resilience, and our stability.
I'm going to mute this and just let this pass real quick because this is just like an ad. So I'm going to let this pass real quick, but it's starting. As you can see right now. Their main questions we'll address at the ECB forum in Sintra. Policymakers, central bankers, and leading academics will come together to discuss how Europe can shape its future. Through innovation, growth, and stability, they say.
Welcome back. The challenges we have been discussing over the past couple of days ultimately land on the desks of central bank heads. The members of our next panel must translate analysis into decisions that affect hundreds of millions of people. I am delighted to welcome to the stage Andrew Bailey, Governor of the Bank of England, Tiff Macklem, Head of the Bank of Canada, Christine Lagarde, President of the European Central Bank, and Kevin Warsh, Chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. The panel will be expertly moderated by Sarah Eisen, anchor at CNBC. Sarah, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to President Lagarde and to the ECB for having me back here. It's an amazing tradition and one of the highlights of my year and my career, and way more fun than watching you guys on your respective press conferences. So this is going to be fun. And I'm excited because I'm hoping we can have a good debate about divergence in policy and approaches. And maybe with that, President Lagarde, I'll kick it off with you because you're the only one up here to have raised interest rates in response to the Middle East oil shock. Are you going to do it again? This year? No, why did you do that?
Well, we did it because we had the perfect monetary policy circumstances to do so. And, when you have your inflation outlook up, your core inflation up, when you have the underlying inflation indicating that it's also trending up as well, and that you're only going back to your 2% target at the end of 28, with a number of things happening in our inflation outlook, which includes, the market expectations in particular. You have the obvious decision, and it was so obvious that we had a unanimity decision within the board of the governing council.
But seriously, how will you decide whether you keep going? Because you're still above target.
What we decided to do is, way back, to give up on forward guidance, okay? And personally, and I've said that publicly, if I have one regret, it's to have felt bound and compelled by forward guidance. So I think what we do is now also informing market participants, informing financial experts from all walks of life about how we come to our monetary policy stance. And I have called it not forward guidance, but framework guidance, so that those interested in how we come up to a particular decision appreciate what we take into account, what intellectual process we go through, what indicators we are particularly attentive to, so that, of course, they have to do a little bit more work themselves. It's not forward guidance blindly and you just assume that it's going to be what had been calibrated as forward guidance. They will have to do a bit of homework. They will have to look at the indicators that we're attentive to. They will have to appreciate our intellectual process and what we are especially attentive to. And that includes, if I go through what we did on the 11th of June, we looked at the inflation outlook, taking into account all the latest economic and financial data, with risks part of our assessment as well. And that's, recent development, as you know. We looked at underlying inflation, various set of indicators, and we looked at the transmission of monetary policy. So it's taking all that into account in the context of a supply shock that led us to the decision that we made.
Speaking of not liking forward guidance, which is going to make this job so much harder for me, this panel, Chairman Warsh, we have inflation in the US that is higher than Europe's and farther away from our target. So why are we not raising interest rates?
I was hoping you were asking me about forward guidance.
We'll get there. Because you have so much to say there too, right?
So we have found common cause. It's what President Lagarde said. I liked her when we met 20 years ago when she was finance minister. After that answer, I love her. Reform does not stop at the water's edge. What I found most exhilarating about the last 2 days here is the kind of discussions that we've begun at the Federal Reserve has a lot of people at this conference open-minded, keen to think anew about the conduct of monetary policy. And President Lagarde's answer on forward guidance, I couldn't have said it better myself. We're going to chart a new course so that we can make better decisions and do the right thing. And so my few days here have been incredibly rewarding on that. On the broad conduct of policy, at my press conference, I said, I'm not going to give forward guidance because we're meeting in 6 weeks, but I have an update for you. We're meeting in 4 weeks.
Helpful. So is July on the table for a rate hike?
So Sarah is trying to get me to break this rule. She's going to fail. There's a lot of data that we received in that meeting. I see many of my Fomc colleagues here in Sintra. I take their views very seriously. I want us to have a good family fight when we meet in 4 weeks. There's a lot of late-breaking news on a series of these things. And when we get into that room and shut the door, we're going to have a good debate. But I don't have much more for you than that.
Okay, we'll get back to that. I have more questions for you. Governor Bailey, you did not raise interest rates, even though your inflation is above target, but there are members of your committee that want to raise interest rates. So why are you holding back?
So, like Kevin and Christine, we all spend a great deal of time looking at the substance of the evidence. And I think an important piece of the substance of the evidence for us is that we've got a softening economy. So we're seeing a softening labour market, we're seeing some softening of activity. We think we've got a bit of an output gap opening up. And we had that before the hostility broke out in the Gulf. So that's the contextual setting. Because we're very focused on the risks of pass-through of the energy prices to the indirect effects and things like food prices and the second round effects. And we don't obviously want it to become embedded. It is very frustrating. I was very much of the view that we were going to have inflation back at the 2.0 targets, in the late spring. Everything I've seen actually since tends to confirm me in that previous view. It's obviously not there because of the effects in the Gulf. But the decision not to raise rates for me was based on, reading, the evidence of a softening economy. And then a second thing, and this is probably where we're in a little bit of a different position from the ECB to start with, because it's the sort of the adage, where you get to depends on where you start. There was an expectation that we would cut rates this year. That's not unreasonable in the context of the softening economy. That was off the table in March, and is off the table at the moment. So, that was the context for me that I think we had some time, because by taking that sort of, in a sense, that loosening off the table, the mortgage rate went up 1%. So you can argue that we've actually tightened policy in the period since the conflict broke out. But Kevin and Christine, we review it every meeting. So we've got a meeting coming up at the end of July. and we will be looking at all the evidence again then. So we return to it.
Yeah, the weakening economy, though, it sounds like are you more worried about that than the higher inflation?
Well, I'm not going to give you any prediction as to what we will do. I think, obviously, the thing that has happened is that energy prices have come down quite substantially. They're still a bit above where they were pre-conflict, but they've come down. But the other thing you have to be a bit careful with in the UK is that we have a delayed reaction mechanism to energy prices because of the way our household energy price cap system works. So I always say, it's appropriate at the moment to borrow a soccer analogy. I'm afraid we always look a bit better in the first half than we do in the second half.
I'm proud that you used the word soccer. Now that the World Cup is in the US, everyone's talking soccer. Governor Macklem, your inflation rate for May was 3.2%. It was above your range for the first time in a long time, but you have not really spoken about raising interest rates. Are you comfortable where you are?
Well, we left our policy rate unchanged last time, so yes, I guess we're comfortable where we are. Look, on the...
Going forward, without forward guidance.
No forward guidance. What's interesting is we're all facing pretty similar shocks, but we all start from slightly different places, and we have different proximities or different exposures to these shocks. And the benefit of our frameworks with flexible exchange rates is we can direct policy for what we need in our country. So yeah, you're going to see some differences. In Canada, like the UK, the economy's soft. Economy's growing, but it's been weak. There's excess supply. The labor market, there's some slack in the labor market. But yes, inflation is clearly above the target, 3.2% in May. That's a dilemma for monetary policy. If we raise rates to pull inflation down, it's going to weaken the economy further. And if inflation comes down quickly, we're going to regret that we did that. On the other hand, if we cut rates, support growth, there's a risk that the rise of inflation becomes more persistent. So, when we looked at it, we're sort of we think, our range for neutral is sort of 225 to 325 or 225. So we're kind of at the bottom end of our neutral range, providing a little bit of support, but we think it's about the right level to keep inflation contained. The other thing I would say, though, is, and this gets a bit back to your forward guidance question, we got to be humble. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. Those risks could shift quickly. And the other part of our message is, if the situation changes, we're prepared to take action.
Do you think, Chairman Warsh, that the inflationary spark that everyone's seeing and feeling is a temporary phenomenon as a result of the rise of energy prices, which have already started reversing pretty sharply?
Does temporary sound like transitory? Is that what you were trying to sneak in?
Yes. Is it transitory?
So I'll build on what Governor Macklem just said. By the way, the four of us all served together in the global financial crisis in different roles. So I would say for us to be back on this stage in this circumstance is great. And they've been incredibly warm to me. President Lagarde has sort of welcomed and encouraged these sorts of new ideas that we've talked about at the Federal Reserve on these series of task forces. And Sarah, my hope is that the results of these can be a public good. If we make progress in thinking about the effect of productivity, the effect of data, new inflation frameworks, this is something we can all borrow and use from. The other thing I'll add is that monetary policy spills over from one of our economies to the other, and it spills back. I think the way Governor Macklem said it right, which is we're all being hit by a series of shocks. In the US, the AI shock is leading to a boom in capital expenditures. We see that first and foremost in demand, but I'm confident we're going to see it in supply at some point. So we're spending most of our time trying to monitor those developments.
Is it inflationary?
Well, in the near term, we can observe it on the demand side, but it's up to the central bank to decide whether it's inflationary.
That's why I'm asking.
Whether, in fact, it finds its way into a broader set of goods. I don't have any news for you on that, but I would certainly rather be in a position where we have two things. Where we recommit, the way I know my colleagues have, to deliver price stability. And the other piece that I'll take note of, which shows some difference, I think, among our nations, is the AI boom is showing itself first and very prominently in the United States. I'd certainly rather have this problem where we have massive capital expenditures instead of thinking years back where we had financial engineering, where we had companies that weren't able to deliver profits, so they would do shareholder buybacks. Well, right now they're investing in the future because their expectation is the supply side of the economy will expand. And if it does, that has huge implications for monetary policy. But again, I'm not going to make a judgment now. We'll meet again in 4 weeks. But this is as exciting a time and also as a consequential a time to be a central banker that I can think of at any point, maybe outside of a crisis in my adult lifetime.
President Lagarde, how do you...
Can I pick up on a point that my friend Kevin made? It's the speed at which things change, and that is clearly accelerated by AI. And I think in that context, we have to be open to new measurements, new ways of thinking, new tools that help us and assist in making the right decisions. So I think in that context, the use of scenarios, for instance, that we have now really nailed down with milder, severe, and adverse scenario to make sure that our decisions, are solid and robust across scenarios. The fact that we're incorporating risk into our assessment of inflation. And I think risks, by the way, that we have to the upside on inflation and to the downside of growth are probably more broadly balanced than they were a few weeks ago as a result of what we're seeing, which happens at speed. If you look at how fast the price of oil, spot price granted, has moved down, $72 a barrel now, when it was 120 back in March. These are changes that are just so accelerated that we have to be prepared to measure differently and more accurately using AI, for instance.
How do you make sure Europe doesn't get left behind on AI? I know it's not necessarily the job of the central banker.
It's not the central bank governor's question in a way.
But I know you probably have thoughts on it.
No, I'll tell you something. One, I think that we have to consider that as a transformational technology breakthrough and diffusion and material technology. It needs to be analyzed from our perspective, both in terms of how much capex is going in that particular domain, what impact it will have, how fast will it develop, how will it diffuse, how will we reorganize the way in which we conduct work, including at our central banks, by the way, to really appreciate what impact it will have on productivity. But if it delivers the productivity expectation that we have, then it is going to be a radical change going forward. And we need to, of course, from our perspective as central bankers, we need to measure the disinflationary, inflationary impact it will have over the course of time. And it might be disinflationary first and inflationary second, or probably more so the other way around. But it all needs to take into account. Now, I take your point about Europe lagging behind in terms of investment and the frontier companies that are leading the game at the moment. But I think that we are all sort of hostage to each other, if I may say, because we need those frontier companies, but they need the market. When you represent 25% of the revenues of many of those hyperscalers, we need each other. We are in this game together. At which end of the spectrum, at which set of the supply chain, to be determined, and there will be healthy competition, I'm sure. But we depend on each other. We can't dispense of them, and they can't dispense of the revenue source that we constitute. So we are in this together. That's my personal view.
Governor Macklem, how's it impacting Canada? Do you get the tailwind from the boom in the US, or are you still dealing with too big of a headwinds from trade, for instance?
Well, look, trade does continue to be a headwind. I mentioned the economy is soft. You certainly see the impact of U.S. tariffs on our exports. I think, coming back to investment, I think we get both some tailwind, but we also get a lot of competitive pressure from the U.S. The U.S. is investing in a very big way, and our economies are very integrated. We have a very integrated business model in North America. That's why trade uncertainty is impacting Canada. It also means, though, Canadian firms are going to have to be competitive. I mean, what you see on AI, it's very interesting talking to companies. So, you survey companies, you ask them, are you using AI? Yeah, like almost everybody's using AI. But then you say, okay, have you, materially changed a whole production process and made it embedded AI, that's a much smaller number. That's something like 10-15%, depending. So it does show that there's a lot of potential there. Whether it's inflationary or disinflationary, I think looking out, ultimately, I mean, there's so many good reasons why this is a general purpose technology. And one of the things I picked up over the last couple of days is, well, actually, it could be even bigger than that if it actually accelerates the process of innovation, of discovery itself. It could be even bigger. But when exactly that arrives, when those disinflationary kick in, I think is a very open question. That's another one of those things we need to be humble about. In the near term, we are starting to see some pressures. You can see it. You mentioned our May CPI number. If you look at computers, up 10%. How's that going to feed through the supply chain? I mean, those are the sort of things that we're going to need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, memory chips are a big deal. There's the inflation question, and Governor Bailey, there's also the jobs question. And I know it's early and we don't exactly know, but do you think of AI at this point as a job killer or job creator?
Well, I think the jury's out on that question. I mean, if you look at history, and you look at, Tiff's just been referring to general purpose technology innovation, and you've seen waves of general purpose technology innovation over history. And they've actually had different patterns in terms of their impact on employment. So you can't generalize to start with. There are some channels which will create jobs. There are channels which will destroy jobs. There will be channels which will substitute jobs. Two things matter here. One is what the mix of those channels is, and I say it has differed. Now, I do think, this is not a central bank point, this is much more of a broader public policy point. I do think we have choices in terms of public policy, mixes that we adopt on that front, particularly in things like skills and training. And the second point I would make is, because again this comes strongly through from looking at the past, is that the length of time it takes these effects to come through, I said there's more than one labour market effect, the length of time it takes for each of those effects to come through, and therefore what the mix will be over time differs over time. Now again, we can have choices there in broad public policy terms and in how economies operate. So it's very important to look at that, but I wouldn't generalise. We're certainly, so far, when I go around the country talking to businesses, yes, there's a lot of talk about it. I think a lot of businesses are using it. We're using it at the Bank of England. I would say we're still really in the experimentation phase, actually. And that's fine. That's what you'd understand. And the consequence of that is that you don't, certainly in the UK, I would say we don't see it strongly in the overall economy-wide data, but that doesn't surprise me. I think it's too early for that.
Chair Warsh, opinion on jobs?
So I'll jump in on that. First, I'll say this is one of the central questions that all of us have for our day jobs in evaluating output, employment, and inflation. These are big questions in part because the rate of change of improvement in these models is moving at an exponential level. This is hyper Moore's law stuff. And so while we might see business surveys that say no big deal, my speculation is 6 months from now, the surveys will be saying quite the opposite. The United States is likely to be a big winner over the medium term in this, but I don't say this from a parochial perspective. The US is not afraid of productivity-led economic growth, but we don't view the economics of this as zero sum. We aren't rooting for another country to fail. We're rooting for economic growth to be broad-based. That's good for the United States. It'll make all of our jobs easier. On your question of jobs, I will go back to good Econ 1. It's called the lump of labor fallacy for a reason. Who knew when the internet was born that the internet was going to create 1.5 million jobs as Uber drivers? We are in the first or second inning of this revolution. This is a big paradigm shift, both for the conduct of our policy and for our economies. I think the jobs will be greater, prosperity will be stronger. The question, as one of my colleagues raised, is timing, and we have to take that timing very seriously. We have, at least in the United States, a dual mandate, and we have to deliver both on the employment side and on the stable price side. So we'll be monitoring the speed of it. But if you wanted me to sound like a pessimist and a doomer on this, I'm afraid I'm not there.
If I could just come back on one other point on this whole area. I mean, the other big issue is financial stability. And this is a very big, a big development in terms of frontier AI. And what we do need to see, and I think this is pressing now, is that we work together to have solid and robust arrangements for introducing these models, so that we can take risks out as best we can where they are created. But they're always there, but they're brought to the surface, if you like, by these models. That is a very pressing issue that I think we have stronger coordination of that process.
President Lagarde?
And on that vein, I completely agree with Andrew on that, but I celebrate the fact that apparently tomorrow the US and the EU authorities are going to get together and sit down and decide the terms under this will best be deployed for the safety of all of us. So that's a really good development.
I did want to bring it back to economic growth for a moment, President Lagarde, and I've asked you this for a few years in a row now, and you've always pushed back and have been right.
Okay, I'll push back again.
The stagflation question, and whether Europe is facing stagflation.
Okay, well, then I'll repeat what I've said before. Stagflation is a concept of the 70s in circumstances that are not replicated those days. We are currently at almost lowest historical levels of unemployment. Employment participation continues growing. There will be different jobs, to your previous questions, but employment is continuing to grow.
But growth is weak.
And we are taking all the right steps to make sure that we have price stability. We're not going to let inflation run out, or the genius get out of the bottle and inflation move up. We will take the necessary steps, and we have.
Yeah, I mean, the employment story has been a positive one for Europe, for the US as well. I mean, we've seen a really remarkably resilient labor market. Chairman Warsh, how do you interpret the recent data points on the labor side of your mandate?
So when we met 2 weeks ago, I think the way we as a committee described the labor side of the mandate is we said labor markets are steady. We said the demand side of the economy was solid. And we said the supply side of the economy, especially CapEx and productivity, again, this is before we see the fruits of AI, we said that was strong. I don't want to sound like a Wall Street newsletter and update that with recent events, because we follow trends. And I'll reinforce something that President Lagarde just said. We're all in the price stability business. That might not be our only business, but if there was a common thing I heard over the last couple of days, it was open-mindedness on these questions of AI, open-mindedness on productivity. But we've all looked around and we've seen that prices are too high, and I don't think I'm the only one on this stage that's recommitted to deliver price stability.
So the market was right to interpret your first news conference as hawkish.
Nice try.
Yeah, I'm not. I've just gotten advice from the senior statesman on this group not to do that. But I'll say this: expectations of inflation over the first 4 months, first 4 weeks of this period, they've come down. Inflation risks have come down. Again, in our business, we don't want to overdetermine things. But if there were people in household or the business sector and the financial markets who thought that this central bank was going to be comfortable with an inflation objective above 2%, well, I guess they'd be disappointed. We're going to deliver price stability in the US. That's what this committee has signed up to do. And our objective is to do that. The tactics, the strategy, and the rest, that's still to come.
No matter what the president wants.
We've been an independent central bank for a very long time. We're going to be an independent central bank at this moment, and you're going to see no changes on that.
So is anybody...
Can I come back to the stagflation point, because I just want to double down on Christine. I mean, stagflation, it's double-digit inflation, double-digit unemployment. And the other thing, getting back to what Kevin was just saying, it's unanchored inflation expectations. That was the fundamental problem in the 1970s.
We don't have that.
And the only way we got out of it was we had to have a big recession to re-anchor expectations. If that happens, we have fundamentally failed to do our jobs. So yes, we have a period, Canada, the economy's weak, unemployment's a little bit, it's high, it's 6.6, inflation's 3.2, those are not double-digit numbers. And that inflation isn't not going to be persistent. inflation expectations are well anchored. We're going to keep them well anchored. So this whole word of stagflation, it doesn't apply to the situation we have today. You got to distinguish between a rise in unemployment and inflation and stagflation. They're not the same thing.
Right. Some people just think of it as slower growth and higher inflation, but clearly that's not where you guys.
It's a much more loaded word than that.
Yeah.
Governor Bailey, on this topic of forward guidance, we make light of it, but it is a bit of a change, a departure from where we've seen central banks in recent years. You kind of got rid of forward guidance in 2021. You said you did. And how do we determine the difference between a reaction function and forward guidance?
Well, look, I think we have to sort of tread carefully through this debate, not least because of the question you just asked. But almost anything we say, of course, can attempt to be interpreted as forward guidance. And the second thing I would observe is that, of course, all of us are making policy which is going to have effect in the future. So we sort of start with that position. I think where forward guidance has been very difficult, and therefore I'm in a very similar place to my colleagues, is that you can get locked into it very easily. I've said a number of times in our committee, it's much easier to put it in place than it is to take it away. And therefore, before you actually go and put it in place, just think about what we're going to have to deal with as time goes by, because it becomes quite problematic after a while. It overstays its welcome. So I'm also very cautious. Now, but I recognize that anything we say about the outlook for the economy can be interpreted as a view of the future. And of course that, we have to sort of, in a sense, do that. But I think we have to be very careful about, getting tied into views on where rates are going to go. That's the thing that is much more problematic.
But isn't it important, Chairman Warsh, to give the market a sense of how you're thinking about policy? You don't have to give them a pre-commitment, but the whole reaction function, how you think of how you're going to make policy.
So I think the most important thing we can do is to get policy right. If our communications tools, if our models, if the way we've been playing things makes it harder for us to go into these meetings, have a family fight with our colleagues, and make the best decision in pursuit of our mandates, if that's an obstacle, we should get rid of it. It is said in recent weeks, well, we need to know more about your reaction function. If I look at trigger pullers, people that are making decisions in the bond market, a range of markets, volatility is not up, it's down. Yields aren't up, they're down. Inflation expectations are down. So I hear this, that as if people don't understand. I think they actually understand quite well. I feel incredible comfort that I'm not sure I had internalized, that there is a willingness by my colleagues in the central banking community around the world to go back to first principles. We all want to make the best decisions we can. We've all been burdened with many of the policies that in some sense the Fed created in the 2008 financial crisis. This is a rare moment for us to go back to first principles, ask hard questions, review what we're doing. At the Fed, we've got 5 outside task forces to shed new light on this. And I'm encouraged because in some sense, we each think we're making our own monetary policy, but each of our monetary policies affect one another. And I'm honored to be on a stage with 3 colleagues who have been in the fight for 15 or 20 years with me and without me. And I won't at all be surprised if 6 or 12 months from now, each of us are on a better path to deliver on what we've said we're going to do.
Who's leading these task forces?
We have news to come. I can tell you likely next week who will be the outside experts. Some of them would have been folks in seats like this in prior years. Some would have been academics in the audience. But we really tried to find the best minds in the economics profession among practitioners, people experienced hands, including people from countries outside the US. We're not asking for de Tocqueville to come to America, but sometimes we need a foreigner to sort of see things clearly. And the idea of these is not to prejudge the outcomes. I'm certainly not going to do it. But I think as we make progress on this, I think some of the lessons learned might not just be for the American central banker who's new to this crew, but my colleagues on the stage.
I was going to volunteer for task force.
At the ECB, we went through the same process. And when we started the strategy review, it takes time. And we did bring, under the leadership of Philip Lane, our chief economist, it did take time to bring we didn't call it task force, but we had expert committees, we had groups, and it took a couple of years before we actually settled down and all agreed on the key principles, the reaction function, the elements that we would take into account, the measurements of the nature of the supply shocks and the origin and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't happen overnight. It's complicated. It sounds simple when you're at the end of the supply chain, but the whole process is complicated. So I really celebrate the fact that you're going into this task force exercise and are prepared to let the best minds participate in that.
You know, there's also been a lot of talk here about coordination and influence on each other. And I am curious, President Lagarde, now that you do have a little bit policy divergence, you guys go in maybe in different directions. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing ultimately?
The divergence between who and who?
Policy. I mean, you're raising rates, they're not raising rates. You know, is that disruptive?
You know, I totally endorse the comments made by, I think it was both Tiff and Andrew. We started from different places. We were at 2% interest rates. I think the Fed was at 350 thereabout, and you were at 325.
Yeah.
Inflations were at different levels as well, and the markets were expecting cuts in various corners. So it's the situation was entirely different. I don't regard that as a divergence. I think the commitment is the same to maintaining price stability and doing what it takes to actually deliver on that commitment.
But sometimes you see wild swings, and I mean, the dollar-yen, for instance, is at the highest level in 40 years. Is that okay, Chairman Warsh?
Well, before we came here, we each told a small story about Governor Wada, who's been a great colleague of many of ours, and we're rooting for his good health so that he can join us on panels like this in a couple of months. If this central bank stands for anything, it's staying in its lane on monetary policy. So if you think I'm going to wander into yen policy in Japan, then you're asking way too much of me.
Well, it's making a move, that's all. You know, Governor Macklem, on the markets, you recently, I think, warned about excess, just given the AI trade, speculation. I think that's very much on the market's mind. Do you see signs of that? Thinking of irrational exuberance of the late, great Alan Greenspan.
Yeah, we've been warning really of two things, and I'm gonna draw Andrew into this. Andrew chairs the Financial Stability Board. I chair the Vulnerabilities Committee. So, I mean, you know, as Governor of the Bank of Canada, I'm looking at this from a Canadian perspective, but at the FSB, we're looking at it from a more global perspective. And yeah, I would highlight a couple of vulnerabilities. You know, as we've already said, look, there is so much potential to raise productivity growth with the adoption of AI, with the diffusion of AI. But we've seen this before when there's a new breakthrough technology. I mean, the internet proved to be, better than anybody imagined, created whole new businesses. But we still got the dot-com bubble. It doesn't mean there can't be a period where the market gets ahead of himself and you see a retrenchment. So, look, it takes two sides to make the market. We're not in the business of giving investment advice as central bankers. But from a financial stability point of view, you look at the sort of, historical benchmarks, PE ratios, forward ratios. Yeah, things look stretched compared to those. So that doesn't mean there's a problem, but it does mean you need to take that risk on board. The other risk we've been highlighting is we've seen very large growth of hedge funds in the sovereign debt market, and to some extent that's been very welcome. They've been very efficient in buying and distributing government debt. There's lots of issuance out there. Governments need investors. But a lot of this is being done with a lot of leverage, very short-term leverage, and that does make you, a lot of it overnight in the repo market. And that does make you nervous that if there was a period of volatility and haircuts in repo markets went up, or there was some disruption in repo markets, you could get a rapid unwind. Again, part of our job is to sort of markets do a good job of seeing the risks that they face individually. They have a harder time seeing the systemic risks. These trades are very low risk for each hedge fund, but when they're all doing something similar, there could be a systemic overlay. And the idea is if we can point that out, the market can guard against that risk.
So, yeah, I mean, look, Kevin has referred to the financial crisis a few times, and he's absolutely right to do that. And one of the big questions, at that time or before it was, is the subprime mortgage market going to be, in a sense, the trigger and the cause of a wider financial crisis? And, we didn't get that call particularly right, frankly. But the thing that we have to bear in mind is what we're trying to look for here is sort of tail risk. Is there something in these markets that could trigger a wider consequence in terms of financial stability? And that's, as Tiff said, that's what we're trying to do. Tiff leads the work in the Financial Stability Board globally to do that. So, we're absolutely right. So we look at the increase in leverage in core government bond markets. I mean, these markets have changed substantially. I think the thing we've seen actually in the course of the last few months is an increase in leverage in equity markets. So you look at hedge fund leverage in equity markets, you look at leveraged exchange-traded fund markets, those things are changing. If you look at private credit, the questions we're asking is, are those the things that actually can move from tail risk into a broader consequence? So then you have to say, what are the channels through which it can happen? So at the Bank of England, we're doing a second system-wide exploratory scenario to ask that very question about private credit. That's our job.
Do you see any other broader risks emerging? And do you agree with the characterization of stretched for the market?
So we are looking, obviously, yes, we do look at asset valuations because you are living in a world, you've seen this obviously over recent months where you've got quite a divergence between how, bond yields are moving and how equity markets are moving. Now, I think a lot of this comes back to what Kevin was saying about AI. I think it's explicable in broad economic terms. But the question is, is that going to lead to some wider stability issues? So that's on the list. And then going back to what I was saying earlier, I don't want to reopen it again, but frontier AI is obviously high on the risk as well. So we've got quite a list of things that we're looking at the moment.
I wonder if you, Chairman Warsh, see any signs of excess trillion-dollar IPOs, high margin debt that was referenced, other things that are going on in this market that remind you of those other times.
Well, I would say I've been out of this business for 15 years, but I still have the scars from the global financial crisis. I suspect my colleagues do too. We take risks seriously, and that's part of the reason why each of us, I think, at the core have sort of a reformer's heart on this. What can we be doing in the conduct of monetary policy? How should we be revisiting fundamental reforms to supervision and regulation? How should we think about the payment systems that connect us all? So this conference is principally about monetary policy. I must admit, my first 4 weeks at the Fed, my attention's been focused on monetary policy, but our governments have tended to give us larger jobs than that. We take it all very seriously. I'm not prepared to sort of make a broad comment denoting risks that are available in the system, but I will say this. This is the biggest time of consequence to each of our economies, I think, in our lifetime, maybe absent the shocks of 2008 and the COVID shocks, the dramatic change in how businesses do business, how households are thinking about employment and inflation. And so this is a time we have to go back to first principles. I know at the Federal Reserve with my colleagues, many of whom are here, we're doing that. So I don't want to sound complacent. At the same time, I do want to say, at least for the United States, this is a time of huge opportunity. And if the Fed can deliver on its remit to deliver prices, I've never been more optimistic about what the growth engine of the U.S. could produce.
The growth outlook of the U.S. economy this year is
we're playing Mad Libs now?
Yeah. Fill in the blank.
So I would just say this. Over the last 4 quarters in the U.S., structural productivity is in the high 2% range. So potential growth looks like it's trended up. This is a time that the labor markets, hours worked, are relatively flat. History says that we go from periods of low productivity to periods of high productivity. Nothing is in the bank at this time of consequence. But if the last 4 quarters are an indication, which is really largely before the advent of the new surge in what artificial intelligence can do, I think there's reason to be optimistic. Now, does that optimism convey into policy in the next 6 or 9 months? Still too soon to say.
But strong outlook, sounds like.
You're back to forward guidance.
No,
I'm
that's
going
not
to
forward
disabuse you of trying to extract that. My view, and my colleagues I think have said this better than I, my view is financial markets and the real economy work best. When you look at what's happening in the real economy, you make your own judgments. There has been a tendency, and I take plenty of blame from this, the 08 crisis, where we were trying to suppress volatility, where we thought we needed to spoon feed markets to get out of that. That was the right policy for a crisis. It is not the right policy for the time that we have now. And so sometimes unlearning is harder than learning, and I'm going to keep at it.
Okay, so President Lagarde, how do you think about the best levers to boost growth in the Eurozone right now?
Capital Market Union.
You've been hammering this.
28th regime and boost the venture capital. Okay, so that would be on the growth front. But I would like to add one thing. Thanks to the veterans at this podium and a few other people, we have a strong, solid, robust banking system, which is strongly well-regulated, well-supervised. And I think we should be cautious about what we are throwing away by way of simplification. So we do simplify things, and I'm delighted that, for instance, the ECB has done away with 40 different set of declaration disclosures that were unnecessary out of the 130 plus. So we have to go through that process. But I think we have to be cautious about how risks actually move. And risks were squarely in the banking system back in 2007-8 when we were all together fighting this global financial crisis. Risks travel fast, and there is no limit to the imagination of those in the financial sector who are trying to make money, as is their business, and who are taking risks. But the question is really who eventually ends up taking the risk and sweeping the mess. So I would contend that this regulatory work that we did at the time, we need to be very attentive, as Andrew suggested, to make sure that the risks that have moved and traveled afar through different structures, bodies, and the different names are also looked at carefully, and that the right measures are taken to protect the public good and to protect the principle of who takes risks bear the responsibility that goes with it.
The other big topic that I know that you all think about and is part of your remit is the balance sheet. And Chairman Warsh, you have talked about before you became Fed chairman, the balance sheet was too big in the United States. So it's at 6.7 trillion right now. What level would you be comfortable with it at?
No forward guidance.
No forward guidance, and I'm not going to give.
Balance sheet.
I'm not going to give. It's the balance sheet. Okay, we're just among friends. We have a task force for that too.
Oh, great. We're going to play drinking game on task force.
I'll say this: there is no secret that from the 2011 period when I was leaving the Fed through now, I wanted the Fed's balance sheet to be smaller, and I long wrote about and described. Interest rates should be the dominant means through which we make monetary policy. If we're in a crisis, there could be a different set of rules. It's always struck me that interest rate policy is the fairest to the broad constellation of our citizens. Interest rate policy, whether we move it up or down, transmits its way into a new mortgage, credit card debt, transmits its way through a lending channel and credit channel. I've always had a view that the balance sheet works mostly through asset prices, works mostly through signaling effects. My 4 weeks at the Fed haven't disabused me of that idea. As we're hearing an alarm, that must be my way of saying that I've gone too far on the balance sheet. But we have a task force that you'll find out of outside people that are going to debate this topic, bring it back to my colleagues and me, to see whether we can have a judgment about whether the balance sheet should be made smaller. The only thing that I'll repeat here, which I've said repeatedly, is if there's a change in balance sheet policy, it'll be a change of my colleagues in the FOMC and the board. Those decisions will be well deliberated publicly, well understood, and will not be implemented until financial markets have come to understand what those are. It took us about 18 years to find our way into this big balance sheet, which again, in my biased view, borders on fiscal policy. It took us 18 years to get out of it. It'll take us more than 18 weeks to bring it down to size. I'm open-minded on the question. We're not going to prejudge it, but I want interest rate policy to be the working oar for monetary policy.
Governor Bailey, you've been focused on the balance sheet. I guess at one point we were asking how big can your balance sheets get, and now I'm wondering how small they can get.
Well, look, there's a nice sort of sense of irony I appreciate from this conversation, because I've been accused of having too big a balance sheet and reducing it too quickly. So, well, really. So can I go back to forward guidance for a moment, because I've really eschewed forward guidance on the balance sheet. So I really don't step into this world of saying we want ample reserves, we want big reserves, small reserves. My line has always been, we will meet the system's demand for reserves, because that's the system's demand for liquidity. Now, we will also spend a lot of time, by the way, understanding why the system wants the liquidity it wants. And also, the key other point, which Kevin has made very forcefully, is that's the way we actually implement monetary policy, through the short-term interest rate, transmitting out of our balance sheet into the system. And that works very well. So, our world is, look, we will meet the system's demand for reserves. We will seek to understand very closely why it's doing that. The other policy I have is that I want to take interest rate risk off the central bank's balance sheet, because with a public balance sheet, interest rate risk should be in the market, not on our balance sheet. And so that's why we're moving to a repo asset side of our balance sheet, because that takes the interest rate risk off our balance sheet, which is what should be the case.
You mentioned you alluded to the political heat that you get over this issue. Does that influence the way you think about it at all? I know it's not supposed to.
No, I think we must have a sensible policy for moving to a system where our balance sheet reflects the system's demand for reserves. So yes, it went above that level during the QE period. It's coming down to that level. I want the interest rate risk off our balance sheet. Those are the policies we're pursuing, and I think those are the right policies.
Speaking of politics, do you get let off the hook, Governor Macklem, because the Prime Minister used to be in this seat?
We get some free advice from elected officials across the country. And as I tell them, I appreciate understanding what's going on. It's a big country. I appreciate understanding what's going on across the country, but I don't appreciate telling me what we should do with interest rates. You've got your job, we've got our job, and that needs to be respected. So I'll just come back to the balance sheet. Interestingly, if you compare different central banks, you'll see a pretty wide range of sizes. In Canada, we didn't do QE in 08-09. Fortunately, in Canada, no banks failed. We did get a big shock, but it wasn't so big that we needed to invoke that emergency policy. We did use QE in the pandemic. It's the only time we have used it. But the fact that we only did it once meant that our balance sheet wasn't as big to start with, and we let the bonds run off, so our balance sheet has run back to its new steady state. And if you compare central banks, as I said, the size of the balance sheets can be pretty different. I mean, Canada's balance sheet as a percentage, Bank of Canada's balance sheet as a percentage of GDP is about a third of the Fed's. Now, look, Canada's not the world's global reserve currency, so yeah, there might be some differences here. But I think the results of Kevin's task force is going to be very informative to us. And the other thing I'll say about balance sheets is it's a very inside baseball kind of discussion. It's not the sort of thing most Canadians are really that engaged in. But it does, it is how we, there is an element of how do we implement monetary policy? What is the demand for reserves? We've spent the last couple days talking about new kinds of money. What do those potentially mean for our balance sheet? So these are questions we need some thinking on.
In the short time that we have left, President Lagarde, I did want to get to you on this political point, and because you have been a forceful voice for central bank independence. I know you continue to do so, and you, I mean, unlike these guys, you have to battle more than 20 different governments and leaders. 21. So you're a pro at that. I'm curious if you think that there are, if you look out and see serious risks to central bank independence, especially in light of the Supreme Court ruling that we got in the United States, letting Fed Governor Lisa Cook keep her job.
Well, I think, the best way we can actually all do our jobs is to be, number one, accountable, number two, independent, and the two come together. When I go to the European Parliament on a regular basis to report on what we do, to explain what we do, that's the counterpart for this independence that we have. Staying in our mandate, the entirety of the mandate is also the sine qua non condition for deserving that independence, which is a precious good without which we would not do a good job. That's my view.
How did you feel about the Supreme Court ruling, Chairman Warsh?
We were doing so well. So before the Supreme Court, the Fed acted independently and followed its remit. After the Supreme Court ruling, the Fed will continue to do so. I read the opinion on the plane over here. One of the secrets of the productivity-led economic growth that I was talking about at the outset is because of the constitutional design in the US. It's the foundational element that has given us 250 years of outperforming expectations. I believe in Article 3 judges. I believe in the rule of law. We'll follow the Supreme Court decision, but day to day, the decision reaffirms what President Lagarde already said. We're calling balls and strikes as best we can. We're taking seriously the reform objective. And we're going to deliver on the high promise that Congress gave us to deliver price stability in the context of our dual mandate. And when we do that, we don't have to worry about politics. We don't have to worry about judicial intervention. We get to look in front of us because it's a challenging step.
Okay, we have a minute left, so I'm going to ask everybody one quickie for everybody. 2 quickies, actually. Governor Bailey, I'll start with you. So favorite economic indicator right now?
Sorry there.
Your favorite economic indicator right now?
Oh, that's a trap question as well. You see, that's a trap question into forward guidance.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
I'm trying.
I'll tell you what, I'll answer it.
Oh, there you are.
My inflation forecast.
Oh, there you go. Governor Bailey, you have to answer.
Well, look, we look at a whole range of data.
Oh, God.
I mean, look, honestly, if you sat through our meetings, you would see more data than you could ever dream of. The other thing I say, look, I'll say this, I spend a lot of time going around the country and I talk to a lot of businesses, and it's absolutely imperative that we stay in touch with the economy.
President Lagarde?
Inflation outlook, balance of risk, underlying inflation, transmission of monetary policy. Thank you.
Chairman Warsh?
I guess I have the last word. With the new
I have one more.
with the data project, the data task force, my hope, my aspiration is that 9-12 months from now, we're going to be using new technologies to understand what's happening in the real economy in a contemporaneous, real-time way that positions us as central makers to make better decisions. That we're no longer going to have to rely solely on data that we get from government agencies with mismeasurement problems, that have surveys that are no longer relevant, that every business we know that are leading in our country are using new data sources to make better decisions. My favorite data is upon us, and if we do our jobs, we'll be here a year from now, and we'll say we've discovered data that helps us make better decisions. And we live up to our promises, we strengthen our credibility, and politics stays at bay.
Least favorite economic indicator?
The conventional wisdom that we hear from time to time tells us nothing. Monetary policy works with long and variable lags, as we know, and many of these indicators are echoes of history. We need indicators that tell us what things are when we look out our window today. So when we make judgments, when we next convene, they're as close to real time as possible.
I thought you were going to say the dots, since you didn't do one.
I'm going to let one panel discussion go without me sort of wagering on the dots. There will still be dots for a short time, at the very least, but we have a task force for that, and
I know.
we'll revisit it.
Do you have a least favorite economic indicator, President Lagarde?
What did you say?
Least favorite economic indicator that gets too much attention?
Those that are wrong.
Governor Macklin, help me out.
You know what I'd say is that especially a lot of the monthly data, it can be very volatile. And sometimes the market over-rotates on the last number. You got to correlate it with other things. You got to smooth it a bit. The last monthly number is never going to be the best indicator.
So I'll give you one that we're wrestling with at the moment and have wrestled with for years, and it's obviously relevant, which is oil and gas futures prices. So they are terrible indicators in history. The problem is that everything else is also a terrible indicator.
Very good. Finally, when we were coming into this year, everybody was talking about rate cuts. Is anyone still talking here about rate cuts? Show of hands.
Well, that's a nice try.
Is that
That's
a
a
no?
nice try at forward guidance.
All right, I tried. Thank you all very much for the candor and for your service.
Okay, guys, so that is the end of it. Honestly, yields are down on this report, so it looks like markets are pricing in slightly dovish. Warsh, I mean, look, he said inflation was decreasing. That could mean, they're going to be less willing to raise rates, and I think that might be what markets are pricing in. We did an ISM data come in a little bit weaker than expected, just now at 53.3 versus 54 expected, but I'm going to do a poll right now. We got 50% thinking we're going to pause. I think that's probably the right move. Bull or bear on market today? Bull or bear on market today? After Warsh? There's a vote on the poll. Bull or bear? Let me know what you guys think. Honestly, gold has been flying back. And if we look at yields from this, again, my interpretation of it is that markets think, he didn't give any forward guidance, but he did say that inflation has been easing some, which is good. It might mean that we're less likely to raise interest rates the next meeting. If you look at yields, like here's 2-year treasury yields, they have fallen from this report. I tried to put this up somewhat during the actual speech, but yields have fallen on this report here. Let me raise my mic volume. It looks like I turned it down accidentally just now. But yeah, if you look at yields, yields are falling. Gold is running up. Bitcoin is rebounding a little bit. And so all of these things point to dovishness, believe it or not. So maybe Warsh, I didn't think a lot of people thought Warsh would be like super dovish. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. 57% bullish. So yeah, markets are pricing in a little bit more doves here. A little bit more dovish reactions here. Also, guys, if you haven't already, check out Lucid. Lucid's great because there's end-of-day drawdown. So if you want to day trade, we're going to day trade a little bit on a Lucid account right now. If you want to help support the channel, check out Lucid. Lucid is great because they give you a demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. And so you don't have to risk money as a new day trader. You have to risk money, but you don't have to risk thousands like new day traders end up doing. You can get an account for very cheap on Lucid. Lucid Flex has some of the best options in the trading game. So if you look at Lucid Flex here, Lucid Flex, once you're actually funded, it kind of goes against the grain here, and it gives you an option on a Lucid Flex for no daily loss limit once you're funded, no consistency rule once you're funded, just 5 minimum days of profit at a specific amount. Lucid Flex is great. It's what most people look for if they want to take big payouts from prop firms. Lucid Direct, if you use my code, you get 50% off. This is like $420 for 150K direct in a funded account, 90-10 profit split. And really good end-of-day drawdowns, meaning the trail doesn't follow you up intraday, so you can expand your drawdown if you build up profit on the day, which is usually what I try to do. So if you want to check them out, here is that link. I appreciate everybody tuning in to the channel. We're still going to trade a little bit here, guys, so stick around. But if you want to check out Lucid, here is that link, my friends. Check it out. A great way to help support the channel here. I'm thinking about a short, although it's a little risky. Yields are down, but let's go ahead and take a couple shorts here right now. So we're taking a couple shorts. It's definitely a risky endeavor with everything going on, but hey, listen, we got to take some risks. We'll have some fun with it and see what happens here. But we are short 200 exponential and the VWAP above us. So I want to see if that gets, markets get pushed down on this. So we'll take some size here. We have 4 contracts. Let's see if that VWAP rejects it. That's really what I want, is like a VWAP rejection. There we go. There's a VWAP rejection. Let's see if it continues down, though. We did bounce pretty quickly. Hey, thank you, Zeke, for another 5 memberships, bro. Everybody's going to be a member by the end of this, guys. Thank you, Zeke. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, dude. I'm shorting NASDAQ on a Lucid funded account. But if we start to break over the VWAP cleanly, I will cut it here. I want to see a double top at 315s or so. So let's see if we get pushed back down. I don't want to see it pick up some steam right here, so we'll give it a second, but see if we fall down. The 200 exponential is right below us as well, although we are kind of breaking past the high volume node. I just want to see if this double top holds. And we got a lot of resistance around this level here, so if we break it, I do not want to stay in this. But we have pushed up a decent amount from Warsh speaking. You know, he didn't give us any forward guidance, but he did talk about, specifically, he did talk about, all right, so we're back down to break even now. He did specifically talk about inflation easing. I think that's why gold's running. That's why yields are falling. The other big news in markets is Meta came out saying they're getting into cloud. That might make people somewhat nervous. It definitely negatively affected a lot of things this morning on that news. So let's see if this double top holds and we get pushes down. We start to rip back up here. I'm going to cut this here. Yeah, I'm going to get out and we'll wait and see if we can find some other trades to get involved with today. Yeah, it looks like we got out just in time. Yeah, he talked a lot about task forces for sure. It's futures only, but single stock futures are coming. So single stock futures are coming. They talked about it in February that the CME would be adding single stock futures to the mix here. We're waiting to get them, but single stock futures are coming. But in the futures market, you can trade gold, S&P, oil. Like a lot of things that are moving markets right now, you can trade in futures. So you can see Apex as well. Apex has options for $17 accounts. So if you look at it, on Apex, if you want a really cheap account, like say you don't day trade that much and you want a cheap account, you can get $85. You'll get 5 accounts, $17 each for 25K accounts. If you want end of day trial, it's $175 for 5. So you can check out Apex as well. I'll put that link up as well. Great way to help support the channel. You can use coupon code BGT to get those discounts, guys. Let me know what you guys think BGT stands for. I'll put the links up here, but remember to use my code. Whenever you go to use a code, remember this face right here. You know, the face only a mother could love right here. Check it out. Help support the channel here. Yeah, let me know if you're bullish or bearish on this report. All right, so we did dip down. I will jump into another short here. Hopefully I don't get faked out right here. But let's see if we can hold under that 200 exponential. We'll take a little piece here and then add some back. I don't want to see a swing back up super strong. Let's see if we get a breakdown now. There we go. That's better. Honestly, we're still a little whippy here, so I'm not going to go too crazy. But we might pivot to gold trading also if we get some good stuff here. Did you guys think we were bullish or bearish on Warsh's speech? I wouldn't short gold necessarily. I'm going to cut this and just wait. Not an easy time trading at this point, but we might get some good stuff. We'll see. I'll switch accounts and go to a different one so I don't give too much back on that one. We did build up a cushion on this one. Bullish, bearish. I saw a lot of splits. Single stock futures would just be futures on all the major stocks like Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, and more. So we should be getting that sometime this summer is what they said. We're already into July though, so the summer doesn't have much longer left here. So Bitcoin. Yeah, you can trade micro Bitcoin on most of these. Yeah, Meta. Yeah, let's take a look at Meta here. Meta is just running up after announcing they're getting into cloud. It actually negatively affected like MU and chips. Nvidia is still rebounding back up though. So it looks like I got out of those shorts in time. ISM data did come out weaker than expected too, so we do have many things that could bring us to hawkish or to dovishness today. I mean, specifically we have weaker ISM data, weaker ADP jobs data. We got NFP data tomorrow, guys. So remember, NFP data comes out tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and the market's closed on Friday. So I would say the news was dovish, personally. I think the news was dovish. We could look at Bitcoin here. The reason I think it's dovish is because he acknowledged weaker inflation. So he acknowledged low inflation. And I think, obviously, we're looking at next meeting specifically here. Let's take a look at the odds of rates now moving forward, because here's the rate cut odds for next meeting. They have fallen from 34% this morning down to 29% odds of a rate hike. So the odds of a rate hike are down now. We'll see what we get, but the odds of a rate hike are down now from this meeting, so that confirms that the market is interpreting Warsh's comments as more dovish, more lower interest rate sentiment is essentially what we're getting here. And we kind of saw, mirroring data come out. We saw ADP weaker, we saw ISM manufacturing weaker. Warsh acknowledged inflation settling, which is good, and I think that's the key quote from this whole meeting just now, is that inflation might be settling down a little bit, and so in turn we're gonna wait. Again, I've told you guys this once. I think we're gonna pause for the next few meetings as we wait to see how much inflation decreases, right? Like, I think that sentiment makes sense. I think Warsh obviously is going to be more dovish than hawkish, but I think that's what we're seeing here. That's why gold is running. That's why Bitcoin is running, and that is also why yields are down. Because when less people buy bonds because yields are lower, more people buy gold and risk-on assets like crypto and others. So that dynamic is here. Real quick, we just got not a small drop here in markets. Let's see if we can figure out why. Not a small drop. Look at the NASDAQ here. Quick drop too. We did buy a little bit of this dip in this account. So there we go. We'll take some more off here. Look at that pop. Okay, so we'll take some more off here. Yeah, yields are down from the report, which means lower interest rate sentiment is what that means. People might say it's hawkish or dovish, but markets are interpreting it as dovish regardless of what people think. Again, you can kind of see yields as the obvious look here. So look, here's 2-year treasuries. Yields have been falling since this report specifically here. So yields are down pretty decent amounts from this report, which means markets are interpreting this as dovish. My strategy's pumping because Bitcoin's pumping. Let's get Brit on here. And my portfolio is very green today, mostly driven by Nike. All right, so I'm going to sell the rest of this position. We did make money on that. But look at Nike. Guys, Nike up to 42s. I gotta find where Brit is. I don't know if Brit's gonna want to come in here. I don't see him online. Let me try calling him real quick. I gotta mute the background noise here because I turned it up dramatically from this, but let's call Brit. Is gold still moving up? Gold's pulling back. It's over 4100s though. Yeah, Brit's not answering. I might short back into this again here. So, and this is an eval, but I don't hate taking some size and risk here. I don't mind a short. I will take some size here. There we go. Yes, sir. All right, good. Look at this drop. All right, we're going to take some more off here. And again, this is a Lucid account. Use code BGT. You want to help support the channel here. Brits with the birds now. He's outside my window. I hear him. What does code BGT stand for, guys? BGT, what does it stand for? Let me know in chat right now. All right, so we're now red on the rest of this, but we are green. I'm going to get out the rest there. In the profits. Yeah, look at gold here. Market's swingy right now, though, honestly, with everything going on. Might take some more size here if we bounce up. Markets are kind of finding their bearings here, though. Like I said, I think this meeting was a little dovish, dude. I think low inflation expectations are good. So low inflation expectations probably good. Market's kind of just ranging back and forth here. Now starting to push back up more. Let's see what happens. Gold rebounding too. I wonder what yields are doing. Yields rebounded a little bit, actually. Still fading down, though. But all right, I did kind of take some size in this account if you look at it, but that's okay. Gotta be careful here, but we're gonna take some more off. See if we can break down some more. There we go. Take another piece off there. Cut the rest, probably break even. I'll hold this last 14 contracts slightly over break even here, I think. Like right here. See if we hold down, break down some more. Should we do a quick giveaway real quick? If you enter code BGT, we'll do a giveaway for a Lucid Flex 50K account. A Lucid Flex 50K account, if you use code BGT, we'll give you guys 5 minutes. You can enter the giveaway here. And potentially win a free. It'll pick a random person in the chat that enters exclamation point BGT. You only need to enter it once, though. But if you enter that code in chat, you'll get a chance to win a free 50K Lucid Flex account. All right, so the short's still working a little bit here. I might take a little bit of size off here. I'll have to adjust my stop loss. But we'll take some more off there. Adjust the stop. Change it to 9 now. And we'll set the stop loss here now. Close to break even on the rest. You got to do exclamation point BGT if you want to join the giveaway. Lurkers, I expect to hear from you in this giveaway. We'll give you guys 5 minutes. What time is it? Yeah, at 10:26. Lurkers unite, yes sir. I'll get some music playing now. It's too quiet, except for these birds. Sultan, you have to do exclamation point BGT, not just BGT, brother. Yeah, dude. This is the nature stream. You know, that's what I meant it for. You know, the birds chirp. I'm in the land of Michigan right now. Birds are outside the window. I think that might be helping my short position too. We've already scaled out of most of it though. Is this market for the birds? I know that's a horrible joke, I know, but you guys kind of like the joke. I can feel it. Oh, I love Michigan, honestly. Michigan's great. Good food. You get to go pick some berries. The grapes here taste different than my South Louisiana or South Texas grapes that I normally eat. I'm going to maybe cut the rest of this actually just straight up break even if it doesn't hold here. All right, guys, we have a timer for the giveaway. It ends in 6 minutes. I'll give you guys 6 more minutes. There's the timer. If you want to enter the giveaway, you got 6 minutes. All right, we got a rejection right around my exit, so that's nice. Let's see if we get a drop now. There you go, Sultan. You got it right. You only have to enter it once, though, dude. Yeah, this countdown timer's, you know, who will enter the giveaway on time. The music fits it. Yeah, you only got to enter it once. No need to enter it 5 times. Ugh. Hello? Who's there? Hello? Hello?
I don't know. Who could it be?
It could be somebody whose mic sucks, is who it could be, bro.
My mic is wonderful.
Now
what are you talking about?
Now it's great, you know.
I had to mute. There was some overlap. I had to mute the actual stream.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. There's Britt. Britt is here. Guys.
Yeah, what's up, everybody?
Yeah. What'd you think about Warsh? And really, it was a bunch of central bankers. What'd you think? What'd you think about that? All right, I'm gonna cut the rest of this here, guys. If we break over this level, I'll give it a second here.
I don't know, but I do think that your streaming music sounds like you're playing Fight Night.
Well, it's countdown for who can enter the giveaway. It's got to be serious. You know, this is a serious thing. We run an honest, serious stream here, dude. You know, so
We do?
We do. You know,
Ah.
ask the birds out the window right now. They know.
Yeah, those are the birds of honesty.
Yeah,
You know.
that's right. The beacons of honesty, the birds. I'm not sure, Seth. You have to check with them, brother.
I like to think birds are just actually cussing at us all the time.
I feel like they might be, honestly. They're
I know I know they BM on my car on purpose. You know, they figured out that birds actually do that stuff on purpose sometimes, right?
Yeah, the birds here, John, at beginner trading, they're like, look, dude, John, you're ruining my ambiance here. I've got a vibe out here, and you're ruining it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that from the birds, you know? Alright, guys, so we're still pretty flat in markets right now. It's almost 10:30.
It didn't really move anything.
I mean, we moved a pretty good amount, honestly, from the Warsh press conference. Yields fell, gold ripped up, Bitcoin ripped up. He said inflation was settling, and I think that's what people are holding on to in regards to everything. But the last few minutes, TW, you don't have to enter it over and over again, dude. How much time do we have left? T-minus 1.5 minutes, guys. It's your last chance to enter the giveaway. You only have to enter it once. But we have T-minus a minute and 30 seconds.
But yeah, I did hear that, and I heard that basically was talking about, like, you know, different strategies for different, you know, situations, kind of like a Godfather, you know, peacetime consigliere, wartime consigliere type thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had some people hated the interviewer. I didn't think she was that bad. She pressed Warsh to give out forward guidance, and she tried in a lot of different ways. You can tell she planned it out. I wasn't against that. I'm okay with pressing Warsh to give future guidance.
Dude, that's what you're supposed to do when you interview somebody. You're supposed to, I mean, like, you know, unless it's like a puff piece, you're supposed to press them for, you know, information that people want.
Right. I'm going to take a little bit of profit on the short here. As we fall down in markets, break the range. We have 4 micros left. What's SpaceX doing here? Let's see. I'm in this trade, so if it rips up, well, look, SpaceX faded a little bit. Interesting.
Hey, Kevin.
All right, 20 seconds until the giveaway timer is done. Guys, 20 seconds. Again, you could win a free Lucid Flex 50K account. Eval. 10 seconds, guys, 10 seconds. Exclamation point BGT will enter you into the giveaway, my friends. Yeah, I'm really waiting for prop firms to add single stock futures. I would love to be able to trade single stock futures on props. That'd be great. It'll happen eventually, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, giveaway. Again, you can enter it. I'll give you guys one more second to enter exclamation point BGT to join this giveaway. But after that, you know, you can't cry. Like Warsh, I said it once, I'll say it again. Warsh sounds like he's always about to cry. Like his voice cracks. I feel like Warsh might cry every time he talks.
Maybe that's intentional. Maybe he's just trying to, like, elicit sympathy.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. You know, like, hey, I don't want to give forwarding guidance and I feel bad about it. Let me cry. You know.
Yeah. People are not prone to yelling at somebody who looks like they're about to cry. You know, like, if you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So let's do this giveaway, guys. I want to see what happens with my trade, though. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna put it this way though. So if you win the giveaway, you gotta join our Discord, which is right here. If you haven't joined our Discord yet, you gotta join the Discord if you want to get your prize from the giveaway. We post a morning market recap on like everything going on in the morning, every single morning. So if you want a breakdown of what's going on in markets in text, join the Discord. There's the link right there. That's where you will get your prize if you win as well. So we're still breaking down here. I might take a little bit more off this.
A very informative and colorful banner. You guys would very much enjoy it. Join the Discord.
That's right. Do it now. Yeah, I like the interviewer, honestly. I didn't think it was bad. All right, guys.
I thought she did pretty good.
Yeah, she did good. She pressed him. I'm okay with pressing Warsh. You know, see what he's got to say. Trying to get.
Well, I also thought she did a good job of you know, being personable as well as, you know, actually asking questions.
I like her joke about the drinking game regarding task force. I thought that was funny. It's going to turn into a drinking game quick, she said. All right, so I'm going to take more off here. I'll let this last little baby contract run about halfway to break even. So, all right, guys. 10 exclamation point BGT went to the giveaway. I'm going to do a 15-second countdown. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's do this giveaway.
Who wins?
The time is up. The giveaway is now live. You only have to enter it once, though, guys. A lot of people just saying it over and over again. We're doing countdowns over here. We're gonna start a task force for countdowns. You know.
I guess I'm taking a shot.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's do this giveaway here, and the winner is. Hold on. Let me change the song real quick.
Oh, thanks.
Oh wait, there's more. No, I'm just. All right.
Tell them what they've won.
All right, the winner of the giveaway is Seth Kipp. You win, dude. You win. Congratulations. You've won the giveaway, sir. You won a Lucid Flex 50k eval. You've done it. You've won, Seth.
I feel like Seth Kipp 2 wins all the time. It's not fair.
Are you here, Seth? I just saw you. He was the last person to do it, too, which is interesting. All right, Seth. Show you're still here, Seth. Let me make sure.
I wouldn't blame you, Nathan, but I don't ever enter it. Just because I would feel horrible if I actually did win, to be honest.
Yeah, Seth, announce yourself. Show us you're still here, bro. Seth, hello.
Where are you, buddy?
He's here still. I can see him in the chat right now.
Yeah, you know, Red Rover, send Seth right over.
Come on, Seth. Show us yourself here. Okay, there he goes. You've won the giveaway. Okay. There he is. Seth is here. Okay, Seth. Join the Discord, my friend, and I'll send it to you. Yeah, don't Sherbert on me, bro.
Next time, though, guys, because remember, you too can be a winner.
Hey, nice. G said I won last week. I'm halfway to being funded. Congrats, dude. Yeah. So, Seth, you can join the giveaway. So, Seth, join the Discord, and then just comment in the main trading chat. I'll message you and send it to you. You got to send me a picture of your YouTube homepage so I know it's you. But I'll send you a code for 100% off a Lucid Flex eval. 50k means you pass it, you get 50k in funding. 90% split. So you build up $1,000 after that. As long as you follow their rules, you know, you keep 900 of it. So, and if you didn't win, you could always check out my code. It's pinned at the top of the chat or in the description. Tradeify is great. You can use BGT coupon code on Tradeify. You can use it on Lucid. You can use it on Apex. So.
Very versatile and very helpful.
Yeah,
take
it's
advantage.
Nice. It's pretty nice, honestly. I gotta say, it's pretty nice, you know. All right, I'm still in this trade, and we keep breaking down here. Are y'all green or red on the day, guys? It depends. So a lot of the prop firms allow overseas users to use them, Sultan. It just depends on where you are. Yeah. So it just depends on where you are.
Speaking of where we are at 682 likes with roughly 1,100 people watching. I bet we could get to 700 if we really tried, and we sure would appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all hit that like button. We're at almost 700 right now. We could hit that in one plug. Look at this trade. I'm just letting this break down here. I got one micro. I might add more to it here too. I just added more. But we are falling down now. Looking a little brutal out there in markets. You know what? I'll triple my size or double my size here and see if we fall more. There we go. And then we can hold the rest pretty close to break even. We've made enough on the day to where we're pretty solid at this point in time. So even if we get stopped out on the last little bit, that's all right. Very green today, red, neon green, green, red. Meta broke to the upside. Did it really? All right, so we might have to cut the rest of this, but we built up a lot of profit letting this break down most of the morning here. Let me set a stop loss real quick. And then, all right, we just got stopped out quickly on the way up, which is fine. We made a ton.
Hey, did you see what Blaze said?
No. They've been targeting it, unfortunately.
Fly back Bob's nightcap. She like the chat, feel like a mic clap. I don't wanna leave now when I'm vibe slap. Trying to get a nice view.
Yeah, I just deleted all of them.
IMAX, G. Trying to get a nice view when I lie back. IMAX, I like when a nice one bite back. Nice view in the rave, man, I set pace. Get wave, take that for the escape. Trying to bill it and get paid. Move like money, my best mate. Broke for the fresh tape. Shubs cut through when I get laid. Laugh mad, no time.
Just to make sure, you haven't had me muted this whole time, have you?
No, you're here.
Okay. No, I mean, I know you can hear me.
Can you hear Britt, guys? Can you hear Britt? Britt is a great trader. Mag 7's green. Yeah, this song, it does. I mean, I'm not a big fan of it. My last name's London. I should like it, you know, but I don't like it, actually.
Later, Blaze.
Hey, later, Blaze. Have a great day, dude. Yeah, you can hear him. All right, cool. All right, guys, I'm going to run out of here, I think. I'm going to get out of here. Interesting market. We're green in some accounts, red in others.
Hey there, Lee.
Again, what coupon codes do you use at most major prop firms, guys? Let me know. What is your coupon code that you will use on most major prop firms? Let me know. You better say the right answer to chat. You know, we do this stream for free. We run an honest stream, a helpful stream. You know, we just like helping people, guys. But check out my coupon code and my sponsorship, yeah, or my affiliate. You know, help me make money, guys. Good luck to you all, my friends.
Either that or John's, or we're gonna like change our strategy and start nagging you to get results.
My stop loss, yeah. Thank you for reminding me.
I'm in the Discord sometimes. Just nobody ever comments on the stuff I post, sadly.
The coupon code is BGT, guys. You better get it right, dude. BGT is the coupon code, sir.
And it's a shame too, because I post some pretty funny stuff, if I, do say so myself.
Yeah, dude, for sure. All right, guys.
No, if it was British music, it would be classic rock if I had my druthers.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Y'all be safe in these markets, dude. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Again, check out Lucid. Lucid's end of day drawdown, which means like you could build up $1,000 in profit. And that means your drawdown expands by 1,000 versus, an intraday where no matter how much profit you build up intraday, your drawdown follows you up, so to speak. So Lucid is great in that regard. You can check out all the links in the description. Y'all be safe today, guys.
Let everybody have a great day. Thanks for watching,
Yeah. Later, guys. Have a great day. See you guys later.